What's up, dudes? What's going on? Give me the sci-fi playlist I was taking down. I feel like it's on Patreon. Not to like try to paywall or anything. It's just I think a lot of it was like copyrighted material that I didn't want to risk. But it's like old classics that I'm not even really sure, to be honest. Maybe it's not even on there, to be honest. Paywall. Hey guys, what's up? My name's Paywall. Good timing? Alright, perfect. Pretty cool. Mr. Ballin mentioned my name in the recent episode, talking about all the podcasts. Twist of History, hosted by Joel. He was my water boy during my time in the military. Can't believe he said that about me. He's not supposed to tell people my secret. There was like people out on the battlefield that you basically were untouchable. There were like the chaplain / medics and the sponge boys. And I was one of the sponge boys. I would go around, and as everybody was lining up their shot, I would just take I would daub a light sponge on their brow, keep from sweat getting into their eyes. Most of Al-Qaeda was usually very respectful to us to not shoot us in the head. Or interfere with our duties. Mike and Ike, welcome back for 10 months. How many stories you got tonight? My favorite storyteller. We got three stories for ye. What's up, Shorny Born? I got notified by YouTube you're going live, and I think they fixed it. Let's go, dude. Let's freaking go. Now the only thing they need to fix is like... So there was this thing that we could like opt into previously related to like advertising. And, but then as soon as we did that, I think that's what caused the issues where like some people say there's like a shit ton of ads on every video in like random spots. And it's just one of those things where I'm fairly certain I'm going to have to go back through every individual video and opt out of it. So it's like not psychotically blasting your ears at weird times, especially the old stuff. Wait, what was the... Oh, how's lifting going? Not great, because I think I told you about how I hurt my back, but honestly, I'm doing so much better since then. And then yesterday, for the first time in a while, I went to a chiropractor. My buddy is a chiropractor. Meine Freunde. And they... You know, I heard a little crack down there in like the lumbar area, a little bit of a shift, so... Have I done any stretching for my back? Yeah, I've done all sorts of stuff, you know. The one thing that felt the best was just the GHD machine which is kind of like an abdominal core strengthener, glute ham developer, but that just really helps to get like a deep stretch and then an activation, and I feel really good. Am I still on Twitch? I technically am, but I was kind of worried that like, since we were having connection issues with YouTube at times, I wasn't sure. My lumbar. I wasn't sure if it was like causing issues, and honestly, I don't really care. I don't really care about blowing up on Twitch that much, honestly. I feel like that platform's kind of doomed. Prime generals are needed for the front line. Lord Joel, it's about to make an excellent speech. Yeah. Oh, shit. Ooh. 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 Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Jeremiah Larkin with another coming in hot right out the gate with $50. Incredibly kind. Yeah, Joel's in the house. Love from Arizona. Thank you, friend. How hot is it there? 110 dang degrees, I imagine. But it's a very dry heat. It's a very dry heat. You know how many games of cribbage you could bet on with that money? That's a good point. Since it's a game that only existed in the year 1910, during Red Dead Redemption times, we could probably play all day with $50. I'd probably get highway robberied. Can you pull my ball bag over a lamp and trace the veins of the tattoo gun? We can give it a whirl. See what happens. How am I? I'm good though. I'm honestly doing very good. Do you do live streams a lot, and are they around the same time? I want to stay in the loop. Yeah, so new videos, right, are every Monday and Thursday. But new live streams is basically me recording those videos, so they're going to be the day before every Sunday and Wednesday. And tonight's a Sunday stream, and usually I start somewhere between 9 and 10 p.m. hopefully. I'd like to finish at a reasonable time so I can get some sleep, some sloip, so I can get some slop. What if there was, like, what if every morning for breakfast someone slid a bowl in front of you that was just like a disgusting pile of slop, like a pig, but it was the best shit you've ever had and you can't explain it. It's just so delicious. Do you enjoy tie-dyeing and taxidermy? Oh my god, that's a brilliant idea actually for like an art piece where you taxidermy some like really rare animals that you've poached and then you tie-dye their fur. Oh man, the liberals would love that. My random accents make you feel normal? Yeah, dude. Everybody should do silly voices 24/7. I think silly voices help you cope with reality and also mentally prepare yourself to be the world's greatest voice actor. Anyways, what are you guys up to? I watched some scary movies. I watched Final Destination Bloodlines, and I watched Mickey 17. I didn't get to see 28 Years Later yet, sadly, but I am seeing it tomorrow in the evening time. Yeah, Bloodlines was fine. You know, it was just one of those ones where it's like it accomplished what it set out to do. And I thought, honestly, the film quality, the cinematography, the audio design, like everything about it was great. I'm gonna see Jurassic World. I don't know. I guess maybe. Honestly, the movie lineup this summer is actually not terrible. Like for the past, like I want to say like 8 years, movies have been complete dog shit, and it was like rare to find any. Oh yeah, I saw it was Tony Todd's last movie in Bloodlines. I was happy to see him in it, and like his sort of like warning at the end, it was odd. It was almost like, you know, everybody there kind of knew that he had some sort of terminal something, so it was very fitting. So rest in peace, Tony Todd. You're the only celebrity that ever followed me on Twitter when I had a Twitter. God bless you, sir. And his voice sounded amazing in that as well. Laying on the couch with some Bior strips on my face, waiting to have dinner. What's the Bior strips? Is that like to pull the blackheads out of your face or whatever? I heard those you're not supposed to do those or something. You heard that Cillian Murphy's not in 28 Days Later. Yeah, I mean, apparently they're gonna do like, somebody told me they were gonna do a 3-series movie based on 28 Years Later within that timeline, and that's Cillian. I always want to say Cillian, but Cillian Murphy's gonna be in it, or in one of the sequels, one of the trequels. You just bought them. Are they bad? I don't know, honestly. Like, I've used them and I feel kind of good after I use them, but then I've also heard people say don't use them because they pull out something out of your nose that then just like fills back up with whatever bacteria are blackheads. So I don't know. I've heard there's other They enlarge the pores over time. Okay, yeah, so maybe that's not such a good thing. 28 years later is a trilogy. Yeah, they already finished the second movie. Oh, okay, nice. Was that Candyman as the little one in Bloodline? Candyman as the little one in Bloodline. The Candyman. I don't know. Oh, yes, yeah, Candyman. Yes, sorry, Tony Todd. I didn't put that together for a second. Yeah, Tony Todd is a little kid in that, but then also he grows up, and he was in one of the other movies as well. I forget that, maybe the second one, where he kind of implies that like death is conscious, you know what I mean? And always like planning stuff. Matt, thank you for the 2 says I'm the Pale Rider. Hope you have a great night. Heck yeah, Matt. Thank you, my friend. Stay safe out there riding the pail. What's up, Punky? You watch horror? Do you watch any horror series? I guess I watched that. What was it? Bly Manor one? What was the one before that? House on Haunted Squill. Young girl was abducted from the park during the 4th of July event. I don't have any details. Would probably make a good story. Oh man, that sucks. Where was that at? I wonder what would be good to post. I wonder what would be good to put on post-strip removal. I think some type of like gel-based moisturizer or some shit like that. Or maybe you're supposed to like... I think you clean your face beforehand, right? So after that, you just kind of want to like moisturize with like non-oil stuff so you like... I don't know, it doesn't fill with shit. Definitely don't stick your face in a big pile of dung. That wouldn't be great. What's my favorite story? Probably Jack and Jill. Josh and Jill. Jack and Joel. It's the gay version. Alright guys, should we read something? Do you guys want to hear a story? Check it out, man. Jack and Joel went up the hill to fetch a pail of jizz. Yeah, man. Okay. I can see celebrities doing the new dung mask trend, yeah. Jennifer Aniston, huge into dung and pizza. Alright. How do I make this? I gotta zoom in. Can't see shit. Can't see shit in Detroit. Can't have 20/20 vision in Detroit. What? Alright guys, we got music festival stories. Pretty freaking sick, huh? What do I think of Mr. Nightmare? I think he's cool. I don't really listen to anybody. So like I'm not like a big consumer of the horror content that much. How's Peepda? He's good. Where is he at? Okay, he's currently not down here, but he's doing good. Any collabs with Mr. Nightmare? Hopefully one day. Maybe the Mr. Ballin stuff will like pop off so much that Mr. Nightmare's hand will be forced to collaborate. Oh wait, what's this play? Dimmu Borgir? Is that a band? It says, way back in 2005, I was 19 years old living in Sheffield when I discovered a little band called Dimmu Borgir. You must consume. I am a consumer. Okay, I think that's a German band. Borgir. Dimmu Borgir. Borgir. Norwegian, maybe? Anybody know if they're Norwegian? But then Norwegians say Dimmu Borge. How do you guys say it? Anybody a fan? It's a black metal band. Lynn, thank you for the 150. Thank you. I think they're Norwegian. Oh, okay. Dimmu Borge. Let me just ask. How do you say... comatose on pineapple upside down cake? Hell yeah, dude. Dimmu Borgir. Okay. Sounds like Borgir with a soft G, not like burger. Borgir. Alright, whatever. Mike Baiano, welcome back for 33 months, says, hey Joel, so I've been using my membership milestones lately to give you cool facts, so here's today's. Quickly though, I'm almost out of care. That's funny. You can at me, I'll read it. I missed the gifted subs. Oh my gosh, I did. Yeah, Amy, sorry about that. Thank you for the 5 gifted subs too. Matt, Dive God, Bugs Bunny 70, Alice Silva, and Rock and React. Thank you, Amy, and thank you for letting me know. If I ever miss anything like that, please do let me know. You guys now have access to bonus content. Hey Vixa, what's up? Dimmu Borgir. All right. Way back in 2005, I was a 19-year-old lad living in Sheffield when I discovered a little band called Dimmu Borgir. This band Dimmu Borgir are a band who play black metal, and their songs are called things like Blood Hunger Doctrine, Progenies of the Great Apocalypse, or the charmingly named The Death of All Saints and the Kingdom of Hell. They dress like you might imagine them to as well, as in nothing but leather, boots with spikes on, and lots of what they call corpse paint. Picture the band Kiss and the way they paint their faces. Now imagine the most monstrously unsettling version of that possible, and that's what corpse paint is. They're not trying to look cool as such, they're trying to look genuinely unsettling, and from the moment I saw it, I was entranced. I said that weird. Demon burger. Is that what it means? I hope so. Entranced. Entranced. They're not trying to look cool as such. They're trying to look genuinely unsettling, and from the moment I saw it, I was entranced. But it wasn't just the music or the clothes that fascinated me. It was the culture, and that culture can be best summed up with the story of a band called Mayhem. Or maybe it's more of a chapter in the story of Mayhem, but it's a big one. And so, long story short, one current member of the band, You're Anonymous. You're Anonymous? Oi, oi, oi. Oi, oi, oi. Oh, they got it. Let's go. Euronymous. Okay. I would hate to mispronounce these. Euronymous. It's kind of funny, the Norwegian person pronouncing the Euronymous sounded a lot like Robin. So, long story short, one current member of the band, Euronymous, and a former member of the band, Varg Vikernes. Oh my gosh. Let me look up every fucking black metal band ever. Euronymous? Your Honor, I can't fucking pronounce this shit. Vikernes. Varg Vikernes. Okay. Started a new craft tonight. It's a new 3D diamond painting. Anyways, you're always the best part. Put on Joan Ludman. Thank you, Lynn. That sounds fun, though. Varg Vikernes. Okay. So, long story short, one current member of the band, Euronymous, and a former member of the band, Varg Vikernes, got into a dispute involving royalties. But then, rather than see each other in court, They got all gangsta rap about it and started issuing death threats to one another. Eventually, the former band member tracks down the current band member and pays him a visit at home. Then, after a violent struggle, the current band member is murdered. The police then raid the murderer's house only to find a ton of ammunition and explosives, and while he denied planning some sort of attack in court, the police put forward a pretty convincing argument that he was planning one, and he was sent to prison. Now, I know how childish this is going to sound, but I'm almost of the opinion that if you don't regret at least some of the stuff that you did and thought as a teen, you neither lived nor grown. But back when I first read all that stuff about Dead and Euronymous and Varvikernes, I thought it was cool. These guys didn't just talk the talk, they walked the walk. They didn't just write about pain and suffering and death, they were actively inflicting and reveling in it, and something about that authenticity was magnetic to me. The same could be said for tens of thousands of other fans too, fans who saw their own anguish and frustration reflected back at them through black metal music. A big theme in black metal was a rejection of modern society, with fans saying they felt more at home in the woods than in a town or city. And so there were all these interlinking themes of violence and isolation, anger and depression, all wrapped up in a Satan-worshipping bow. And while that all might sound quite standard for a teenage boy and his innate sense of rebellion, black metal attracted a much more genuine sort of malice. As I got more and more into black metal, I started making friends who shared my much more darker tastes. I still chilled with my old metalhead schoolmates, and I still count one of them as a close friend even all these years later. But then once a week I'd head over to a black metal night at a metal pub we used to frequent, and that's where I met Toby. Toby called himself Corpse Eater, but I'll just call him Toby here. Of all the black metal fans that used to drink in the Dove and Rainbow, he was the most hardcore. He also had what you might call an aura of darkness about him. Toby just... Toby. Your phone screen is cracked as fuck. Ah, oh, damn. Happiest part of my 4th of July weekend listening. Oh, thank you, Brian. Do I like Marilyn Manson? Yeah, I can't say that I know a ton of his music, but I did enjoy it growing up a decent bit. And I do think the sort of concepts in which they levied against him as far as like his music leading to violence or whatever is the same sort of like mental gymnastics that they use to sort of levy against other people's perspectives on the internet or whatever. It's just like a tale as old as time as far as like kind of having the logical fallacy that like some words or art are just going to lead to self-destructive behaviors or antisocial behaviors. Do I like divorced dad rock? I remember there was that one really funny guy, Divorced Dad. Oh, when you say divorced dad rock, do you mean like buzz ballads like Creed and stuff? Because yes, I do. Absolutely biggest Marilyn Manson fan in your teens, 20s. Nice, that's cool. The beautiful people, the beautiful people. Oh, Toby from The Office didn't just make black metal his whole personality. I want you guys to imagine this character as Toby from The Office from now on. He's actually been to Norway, the genre's birthplace, and had visited the site of Holmenkollen Chapel. Holmenkollen. The beautiful people, the beautiful people. Oh, the beautiful people. Holmenkollen. Wait, how do you say it? Holmenkoll. They say Holmenkoll, but then there's an E in at the end. How to say Holmenkollen? Holmenkollen. Alright. Colon. Whatever. Toby didn't just make black metal his whole personality, He'd actually been to Norway, the genre's birthplace, and had visited the site of the Holmenkollen Chapel. It had been rebuilt by the time he visited, and it had been burned down in the early 90s by the same guy who murdered his former bandmate, Varg Vikernes, and to Toby, seeing it was akin to a religious experience. He considered it a kind of pilgrimage because he wanted to do exactly the same thing in the UK. It was also a pilgrimage that was recognized and respected by black metal fans everywhere because Toby had basically spent all his money on a ferry ticket from Newcastle to Norway via Amsterdam, then begged, borrowed, or stole in order to eat and travel. He told people he slept outdoors in Norway in the middle of winter and that he'd nearly died as a result. I didn't quite believe all that at first, but Toby had the photographs on his phone to prove it. There were several grainy selfies of him taking shelter in a shop doorway in Oslo, and he had actual snow clinging to his big black beard. I had to admit I was pretty impressed. Not quite in awe like some of the other black metal fans who drank in that bar, but impressed nevertheless. Never the molest. The media accused him of contributing to the Columbine massacre. Right, I mean, it's just like, the logical jump, and somehow, like, your entertainment or whatever just is somehow responsible for the actions of someone else. Like, yes, certain aspects of the news can, like, inflame people's personalities, especially through a process of repetition. So maybe there is a degree of, like, I don't know, some aspects of emotions that are affected and affecting people who listen to negative things like gangster rap all day or that, but I don't really think that they could be held culpable in that sense, Hey Joel, subscribe to Twist of History and Saturn Soul. Love your content. Thank you, Beth. Good to see you. How am I doing? I'm good, though. I am good. Good. Just cruising. Happy to be back. Happy to chit-chat. Hear you guys' thoughts on the world and planet Earth. We got 2 Beths in the chat. Rest in peace, XX Stenchion. He spilled the beans on the reason music frequency was changed. He did? I do remember he was killed because he brought cash to a car, like to buy a car, and then I thought it was like one of the people there selling the car told their friends that he had a shit ton of cash with him, so they like shot him and then robbed him or whatever. What did I do for the 4th? It was a busy day, honestly. I went to like a friend's cookout, and then after that went to another friend's house to hang out with them and his kids, and after that went back home to hang out with my own family, and I had some family in town visiting, so I got to meet with them for a little while, and then I kind of had to take a nap. So I took a nap and then ended up going to a place to watch some fireworks and stuff for the big boom, and that was cool. Saturn Soul art and name looks like a dope concept. Thank you. Yeah, got some cool, true crime. Finally got the true crime channel up and running, baby. He said that they changed it to a less healing frequency akin to theta waves in the brain, making people susceptible to suggestion. All music? Is that like standard now? Oh yeah, the fireworks were nuts. That was like the finale that I shared on my story. Did I change the PFP for Saturn so it was always like that? The PFP for Saturn so it should be the same. Let me look. Crap. That's been like that since we started. The banner might change at some point, I think, possibly. From reading these stories about creeps, so you ever get paranoid about your own kids having those kind of encounters? Yeah, for sure. I mean, You just gotta look out for them and protect them. Probably keep them off the internet till they're fucking old. Till they're 30. Might just be confused because your community posted was a different photo. Oh, okay, no worries. I was watching anime in bed with my cat. He was hiding under the sheets, scared of a booming... Oh, yeah. Yeah, surprisingly, Pradeep doesn't get too freaked out by that stuff. He just kind of, like, looks at it and then just like, alright, whatever. Alright. I had to admit, I was impressed. Not quite in awe like some of the other black metal fans who drank in that bar, but impressed nevertheless. Then over weeks and months that followed our initial meeting, me and Toby got to be good friends. Toby was good fun, but he was wild, and I mean really wild. He didn't work, but he didn't claim benefits either. Yet somehow he always had a bit of money to spend on vodka or secondhand leathers, and if you ever asked him where he got it, he'd always reply with a variation of mind your own business. And that's why I didn't ask any questions when he told me he got 2 tickets for a music festival called Bloodstock, which was taking place down near Derby for a few days in August. And while Bloodstock isn't strictly a black metal festival, it's about as close to one as we were going to find. He made me give him the money for the ticket, and it was also my job to get a hold of a tent and a lift down to Derby. But I was well up for it, and I was chuffed that he'd actually bought me a ticket. Toby could have picked anyone to take to Bloodstock, but he picked me, and while that was probably because he knew that I had access to both a car and a tent, it still felt special, I guess. We drove down on Friday the 14th, and we parked my car and started making our way towards the gates, and I thought we were in for the time of our lives. It was my first ever music festival, and I was buzzing to be there. Toby, on the other hand, being a few years older, had been to loads, so he took the lead. We found ourselves a spot to camp at the very edge of an open field, so we had trees on one side of us and a sea of tents on the other. We then set up the tent, found ourselves a burger van and had some food, and then wandered around the festival site catching bands as we went. We were drinking all day, and then the last thing I remember before almost blacking out completely was catching Arch Enemy on the main stage. And the next thing I remember is waking up in my tent the next morning on my own. Toby had decided to sleep among the trees, on the ground, with his shirt off, and he was still passed out when I went looking for him and eventually found him. We were both pretty hungover, so obviously not feeling our best, but there was something about the way he was acting that put a bit of tension in the air. You see, Toby was always a very dark and moody sort of person, and while you met a lot of people like that in the black metal community, being either angry or depressed or hateful was kind of their whole personality. He had his moments of kindness and compassion, but only here and there, and you only ever saw him like that if you were very close with him. But then, even after all of his brooding and moodiness, there was something extra dark about Toby that morning. Toby didn't really like the sound of his own voice, and by that I mean he was a real talker. I didn't mind. Is Toby dead? Toby. You like the joyful music festivals? Yeah, who's a joyful one? Like people who sing Christmas carols or something? This is Halloween, this is Halloween. I would like to welcome all the family and friends. Everything is perfect and I hope nobody had any marijuana. The Real Warped Tour, featuring Fred Durstington. The Farewell Festival in Oregon. I did hear that, was it Black Sabbath played their last concert ever in the UK recently? Did anybody go to that? Black Sabbath. I didn't mind, to be honest. He was always coming out with juicy pieces of black metal lore and stuff, so it was interesting for the most part. But then that morning, there was hardly a word out of him. He kept asking, I kept asking if he was alright, if anything had happened the previous night that I wasn't remembering, but he said he was fine, and that he was just regretting the amount that he had to drink. Oh yeah, where was that, Ollie, in the UK? Was that the Black Sabbath thing? Just saw Ozzy singing Mama. I'm coming home for the last time a bit ago. Oh really? Was it online or were you there? Are you like in there? Prayers for Texas. Yeah, I did see that huge flood. Where did the flood happen? It happened near a campgrounds or something where kids have gone essentially missing from the sort of like catastrophic flooding and stuff. Yeah, it's really sad. Very sorry to hear that. Online, wanted to go so bad. Oh yeah, it's tough. 27 kids. Holy shit. Were they just like all down near the water, or like did it just like flood out so much that everybody was just caught off guard, or there were some girls found like alive or near rivers, but the one on the news was Mystic Camp. Oh, like it came down into the campgrounds. Ozzy saying aliens made fake blueberries when Jack talked about Trader Joe's selling fake food. Yeah, I wonder how it flooded so fast. Did like something break, or was like a river, like how did all that water get diverged into, I don't know. Or was it just like that heavy of a rainfall? But he said he was fine, and that he was just regretting the amount that he had to drink the previous night. Apparently he'd wandered around until sunrise after I'd crashed in our tent and had enjoyed some very interesting conversations with something. It was just that heavy, man, it's crazy. Like the Dubai stuff. Jeez. Apparently he'd wandered around until sunrise after I'd crashed in our tent and had enjoyed some very interesting conversations with someone he'd met on his travels. I asked if I was anything I asked if it was anything I'd find interesting, but when he just shook his head, I decided to leave it. Toby seemed to perk up a little bit after we got some breakfast and had ourselves a little bit of a baby wipe shower. And then after covering ourselves in corpse paint, we started to get very excited as we made our way to the stage where Cradle of Filth was playing. It was the most animated I'd seen him for quite some time, and at first, he was in a good mood, and people around us were enjoying his antics, some of which included Growl screaming the words Av Satanus and pouring packets of fake blood all over himself when he was already covered in corpse paint. But then once Cradle of Filth took the stage and started their set, Toby went absolutely haywire. At first, all he did was headbang and scream along with the songs, but then about halfway through the set, he started getting physical with me. He'd grab me by the shoulders, scream in my face, and sometimes he'd bang our foreheads together so hard it actually hurt. But as weird as it sounds, I didn't really mind. We'd actually do stuff like that quite often back in my flat after the pub, so I just screamed back at him and joined in the head banging. The head banging, the head burger. Did you miss anything? Just a wee bit, just a wee bit. It's almost 4 me, so I'm going to go listen to recent Patreon posts and sleep good night. Hey, night, Beth. Take care. Thanks for stopping by. We'd actually do stuff like that quite often back in my flat after the pub, so I just screamed back at him and joined him in the headbanging. But then he started doing it to other people, and some of them didn't seem to appreciate it at all. A few guys seemed to enjoy it at first, when Toby... A few guys seemed to enjoy it at first, when Toby grabbed them and started screaming, but when he headbutted them hard enough for it to hurt, they'd either shove him off or try and go for him, at which points But when he headbutted them hard enough for it to hurt, They'd either shove him off or try and go for him, at which point his mates would hold him back to stop everyone from... Why the fuck am I, losing it now? I don't understand. I was, flowing, and now I can't flow. Extreme moshing. Have you guys ever extremely moshed? What's up, Cinnamon? Cinnabon? But when he headbutted them hard enough for it to hurt, they'd either shove him off or try and go for him, at which point his mates would hold him back to stop everyone getting carted out by security. I tried to cart him... Oh my god. I tried to calm him down a bit to get him to stop hassling people near us, but not only would he not listen, he got worse and worse and worse. Eventually, I kind of snapped at him, and after dragging him away to the side of the marquee away from the people, I told him to chill out or I was leaving. And his response was to throw a punch at me, a really bloody hard one too, and if he hadn't been so drunk, it might have connected. And well, that was it. I went mental, and after we started scuffling, it took maybe a minute or two before the pair of us were getting dragged out of the tent by members of security. And the next thing I know, I'm outside, and I'm trying to explain to the security guy that me and Toby are just friends that have gotten into a bit of a bust-up, but all he's interested in is separating us. I suppose that was their job, wasn't it? To keep people separated if they're fighting, but by the time he'd finished giving me a warning and told me to cool down before coming back into the tent, Toby was nowhere to be seen. I had a look-see. I've been punched in the side of the head by someone in the pit. I was not in the pit. My earring stabbed in my neck. Oh my god, yeah, it's the worst. I remember years ago I went to I forget which metal concert. It might have been 2017 or some shit, or I don't even know what year it was. That's how long ago it was, but time flies. I just remember getting into a mosh pit for the most part for the first time and thinking it was fun. Honestly, I felt like I could handle myself because I worked out and just was bouncing off of people. Then all of a sudden I just felt a fist hit me square in the fucking nose. And you feel that blood rush into your face and your nose and everything, and you're just immediately sobered up. You're all right, who did I see? Dude, I don't even remember, man. It was, I don't know. It was funny though, because the keyboard artist was the funniest one, because he would play his keys, and for the most part the keyboard guy is just trying to fill the background noise with some type of sound or something, but he was taking as they were playing, he was taking his keyboard and I don't even know, bending it over he was dancing with it towards the audience and be yeah, I'm playing the piano, baby. That's so hardcore. Chainsaw. My cuz got the show stopped because some guy kept grabbing for they were cool, took us back. What happened? I got punched in the mosh pit at an Incubus concert. I was a 15-year-old, got punched by a bald tweaker, man. That's crazy. That's so annoying. I can't believe they even had any mosh pit at an Incubus concert. I guess the one thing I learned about mosh pits is that they don't start unless the drummer, it's all based on the drums. It's essentially impossible to mosh unless the drummer's you know what I mean? Has just a really fast pace. I'm okay, that's how you do it. That's how you make a crowd go insane. You just play the drums really fast. Your first concert was 3 Days Grace and Shinedown, my lifelong favorites. Nice, dude. Seen a guy spear somebody in the mosh while wearing those weird jump strength shoes at a System of a Down. That's crazy. I don't get it. Yeah, you think there would be rules, unsaid rules to not hurt each other. Clap with your bellies. Yeah. Get all oiled up. I participated in the Wall of Death, but luckily not being in the front. Yeah, what is that? You just run into each other? Do you have to fight afterwards, or just smash into each other? I went to Exodus, Pantera, and Black Label Society when they came to the city, and they were awesome. Nice. You guys are a bunch of metalheads. I had a little look around, calling out his name, and while you might think that it would be easy to spot a 6-foot man in corpse paint who's also covered in fake blood, I had no luck. Toby had apparently vanished. I spent the next few hours looking for him, then giving his phone call. Damn, my brain's just canceled. I spent the next few hours looking for him, then giving his phone a call every so often to see if he'd pick up, but he didn't. As I walked, it slowly began to dawn on me that I was probably going to have to spend the day alone, and in the end, that's what I did. I had a mooch about. Oh my god. The Burt is the wort. I was in love with the drummer of Slipknot. Could you see his face? Did they ever show his face? What about Korn? Korn on the Cob. I had a mooch about, went to see the bands I wanted to see, and although I kept an eye out for Toby at all the places I thought he might be, I didn't catch sight of him. To say it was disappointing would be an understatement, a massive one, and then after catching the last few bands on the main stage, I made my way back to our tent in the hopes that I'd bump into Toby on the way back. When I got there, the tent was empty, but it was also unzipped, so I knew Tubi, the streaming service. Also, on the most recent video, I guess you guys are kind of like very much like familiar with the channel and the projects and stuff, but do you think like with the farm story stuff and the fact that I did like a little bit of a 1-minute snippet of the new channel and the fact that I wasn't like giving any preamble to let you know it was a snippet, do you think that might have confused some people in a way? Like they click on the video thinking it's gonna be about farm stories and then they start hearing about a true crime thing and just kind of click off. And secondary question, I don't know if any of you guys go back and listen to like the really old videos. Oh, you kind of got confused. Okay, I figured, yeah, I have to be a little bit more careful doing that next time so that it doesn't like turn people off. But I do really need to like go back and I'm curious about you guys if you go back and watch old videos and see the and basically is there like a shit ton of advertisements that run on the old videos? And if so, I'm going to have to like figure out some system to go back and like set the ads back to what they used to be essentially, but I don't know what to do. AER, welcome back for 27 months, says, yo, Joel, hope you are well, brother. Was in Lansdale, PA over the weekend for my mom's 70th surprise party. Nice, dude. Welcome to Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania. 70th surprise party. That's crazy. So I've never had a surprise party. I do hope I get one day. I hope people care enough. It's cool. Who comes into a spooky podcast being offended by being startled? True. I need to just put jump scares. Anyone else get into Creed after you grew up? I mean, I remember listening to Creed on the radio ever since like middle school. You can throw me a surprise party. Thank you. I appreciate that. What would be like, what's like this, how do you even like bring someone to a surprise party without them knowing? The sky resembles a bat-lit canopy with holes punched in it. Amanda Moneymaker, welcome to the Buttersock Cult. You now have access to bonus content. Thank you, Amanda. When I started listening to you, I ended up finishing all your podcasts that you had posted, but I didn't realize that your photos didn't match the stories, but it's cool. I love all the stories. Photos, like the thumbnails? I listened to the beginning. I'm 4 to 5 years back now. I don't have ads, though, so I can't help that. Okay, no worries. You tell them you're going to a party that just so happens to be on their birthday. I'm watering a garden right now. I'm too toasted to keep forgetting what I'm doing. That's funny. When I got there, the tent was empty, but it was also unzipped, so I knew Toby must have been back at some point. Then right as I'm about to give him a call, I hear someone calling my name from the trees near our tent. It was Toby. I was just relieved to know that he'd made it back okay, and the first thing I did was apologize for that scuffle, so we'd start off the interaction on good terms. I'd never gotten anything like that with him before, physical violence I mean, so I didn't really know how he was going to take it. But from the sound of his voice, he didn't seem to mind at all. He said something like, "Don't worry about it, all forgotten," and I could tell that he was drunk from the way that he was slurring his words. But then he said, "Listen, I found something, and you need to see it." I asked him what, and in a voice that sounded unusually giddy, Toby said it was a surprise. And when I say unusually giddy, I mean I'd never heard Toby sound like that before, ever. So my first thought was, okay, he's probably on mushrooms or MDMA or something, because this is not like him at all. I asked him what kind of surprise as I walked towards him, and even though it was almost pitch black, I could see his bright white torso and face still covered in the corpse paint. Looking back on it, he looked terrifying, but I was too drunk, tired, and relieved to do anything but walk towards him. As I got closer, he turned away from me. Then as I started following him into the trees, I asked a second time what his surprise was. He replied, and I'll never forget the way he said this, "Something I've wanted to show you for ages now." Then he started. Oh, okay. He started. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Ooh, yeah. Ooh. Concept Center with the chronic heart failure 50. Buckaroonie says, "Much love from Liechtenstein, Joel. We got married yesterday and absolutely love Let's Read." Thank you. Liechtenstein, is that in Germany? Liechtenstein is it's a country in Europe, and it's a small country. Wow, it's a really small country. Why is it so small? That's what she said. So it's a tiny country below Germany, in between Sweden and Austria. That's cool. Well, congratulations on the marriage. That's amazing. And thank you for the 50. Very kind. Liechtenstein. It's so tiny. What is it, like, really important? Is that why it's so tiny? Do they do, like, the international... Is that where... That's where the king lives, probably. The king of Europe. Am I familiar with Wilkes-Barre? I like Dare. Yeah, I know. I've heard of Wilkes-Barre in Pennsylvania. Oh, wait. Make sure I didn't miss their message there. But thank you again, Concept Center. Yeah, that's amazing. Freaking married. That's great. What do you guys... Are you guys going on honeymoonington? It's a private country. That's crazy. Wilkes-Barre is a tiny college town. Okay. I didn't even know I had a college. It's a tax heaven. You get taxed 110% tax. Yo, Jawad. I went to Germantown here in Texas, and they served sausage, something, beer. That sounds yummy. I realized that I really, really enjoy ciders. Like, if I ever drink, I'm probably just only ever going to drink ciders from now on, because they're just good. They're yummy, they're tart, but they got alcohol in them, you know what I mean? Whereas, like, all the other shit just, like, tastes like tree bark piss, you know? Then we started, like... Oh, then he started mumbling. It's a crime to offer a human a warm cider. Like, I made this inside of myself. What's up, Gabriella? Oh, you're drinking a cider right now? Nice, dude. Did you ask that earlier? You said, should I drink a cider? Maybe that's what made me think of it. But I had one yesterday. And it was kind of funny because we went to visit my friend at a bar that he works at. And I'll be honest with you, like, we got there and there was really nothing, like, in my head, I completely was under the interpretation that we were going to just stay all night to the point that I might, I was going to be drooling. But we only drank one drink and then left it, so I guess that was fine. Probably better not to become an alcoholic. They're like Dickens cider? I'm not sure, honestly. I'm not really familiar with the different... I think there's Angry Orchard. I've heard of that one. But honestly, I just say, can I get a cider? And then I make a face where I look like SpongeBob. Whenever his, like, underwear is pulled up above his belly button. Am I in your Grand Theft Auto lobby? I am, yeah. Get ready. Dickens cider. Oh, Dickens cider. I was looking for the pun. I couldn't figure it out at first. That's good. They should make that, honestly. Honestly, you'll be surprised. Like, just like basic comedy bullshit, even if it's disgusting, people will just buy it because they're drunk and stupid. Marydale cider. Then he sort of started mumbling to himself. Stuff I mostly couldn't hear, but could make out the odd word. I know he said stuff like effing posers at one point, but Toby was always complaining about what he called black metal posers, so I didn't think much of it. I just carried on following him, thinking he might have stolen someone's stash or something, and he'd hidden it among the trees. Then when he knelt down in the dark by a tree and picked something up off the ground, I thought my little theory had been proven right. But then Toby stood up and turned around, and I saw what was in his hand, and it didn't much look like a stash of anything. It looked like some kind of cloth or leather wrap, and it seemed to be too flat though, not like a bag or a pouch or anything. So as Toby's unwrapping whatever's inside, I'm watching in my booze-induced haze with my brain only working half as fast as it should. Because when that wrapping fell away, revealing a long, curved, and silvery-looking blade in Toby's hand, all I said at first was, "Cool. Where'd you get that?" But Toby didn't say anything. Instead, his face twisted up with this horrible look of determination, and the big gothic-looking Bowie knife thing that he had started trembling in his hand. I remember taking a step back and asking him, "Mate, what are you doing?" But he still didn't say anything. All I could hear was his breathing getting deeper and louder as he worked himself up to do something I never thought possible. I asked him again what the F he was playing at. Damn. I'm not used to that saying, so it caught me off guard. What the F he's playing, but at the time he lunged at me. Oh, okay. Get ready for a lunge, guys. Jump scare lunge. Yeah, I feel like as soon as I would have saw the knife, I would have taken off. Oh, man. It's kind of funny. I was like with my friend earlier. I was going to start the stream earlier, but then they asked me to go hiking. I was like, all right, fuck it, let's go hiking. And I don't even know why, but there was just like a part of me that we were sitting there talking in the woods at one point. I'm like, it's a relatively new friend, so I was like just half expecting. I was like, all right, he's just going to pull out a pistol and shoot me. So I was like thinking like, all right, I have to like grab the wrist, punch the gun to the side so it comes out of his wrist. Yeah, Jason Bourne. I don't know. I'm probably way too, yeah, I was pretty ready to pocket sand his ass if need be, but thankfully he did not attempt to murder me, so that was awesome. That's the true sign of a real friend, when they don't kill you. Do you ever share the stories with your friends that you read? Oh yeah, some of them, if they're interesting enough. Tell them about it or whatever. It was really sad. He told me a really, really sad story, though. You guys want to hear a really, really, really sad story? Yeah, so basically this one guy that I knew when I was younger, but he was much more, involved in his life, and which is funny because then I meet him like way later, and so he's kind of like a mutual friend who has like a wife and I think like 2 kids or something like that. And it sounds sarcastic. It's not sarcastic. I'm sorry. This is a real story and a very sad one. But basically, this guy that we knew mutually had a wife, 2 kids, and the guy at some point down the line became addicted to pills, then heroin, and then, eventually fentanyl, which I guess I didn't realize, but like fentanyl, you hear about it and it's like it's cut with it, and it's always like a super small amount that's like mixed with like horse tranquilizer or some shit. And I guess that's why a lot of those guys that you see that look like zombified, where they're standing there like bent over, are bent over like that, because they're just like on a bunch of crazy shit mixed with like horse tranquilizer and like something else. Fent and all, yeah. Fent, etc. That'll be like a bar. Fent and all. Or like a little library. Sorry. Anyways, a bookstore. So his family fucking found him, right? He was in this area of Philadelphia called Kensington Square. So, you probably are if you're familiar with Philly, it's a place called Kensington. And Kensington is just like, it's a terrifying place that you don't ever want to go to, and it's just like filled with fucking people and loads of drugs. And it's the whole place, it's just like a zombie apocalypse style area. And they found him via some social media, because like some guy like goes there and tries to help the addicts and get them, away from it and into like programs. And it's a great thing that the guy does. He helps them out and stuff. I guess, gets them diet Dr. Peppers, and which is the cure. People don't realize that is the cure for fentanyl. Anyways, able to get our friend to essentially go, like, from there, the family finds him, right? They go get him, bring him back home, and then they go all the way to fucking Mexico. Like, somebody pays like 15 grand to get them to go to this like program in Mexico where they use this fucking plant from Africa, like this root from Africa that apparently like rewires or like rebuilds your dopamine receptors in your brain. Because I think a lot of the times, like, certain aspects of drugs and the aspects of addiction, it's all related to like your dopamine receptors and like burning those out. Obviously, I don't know all the ins and outs of addiction, but it's something of that nature. And this root, and that's only legal in Mexico, is able to like, it's a detox thing, like kratom. Okay, yeah. It's from Wakanda. It's unobtainium from Wakanda. But anyways, so he gets on that. His mother goes with him, and basically he does that for up to 10 days, and then he does like DMT, like a DMT, the hallucinogen ayahuasca style like tea prior to leaving, to help have like some breakthrough or whatever the fuck. Apparently people have some success with it, and to this program down there apparently has like a 70% success rate of getting people sober and back to a normal life, you know what I mean? And so he does that, is totally lucid, totally normal, back with his family, and then just out of nowhere, he, like while being with his family, he just like is with friends and he's like, hey, I need you to take me to Kensington. And they're like, no. And he's like, why? And he's like, I don't want to be here anymore. I just want to go do drugs on the street again. I'm like, what? I thought you were like cured and you're good and you're back, and he was just like, nah, I don't. I think I would rather go die doing drugs for the rest of my life than raise and be with his family. And they were just like, what? So they like, were with him, and they got the family on FaceTime, and they're like, you fucking tell him. You fucking tell him what you just told me. And he's like, hey guys, I don't love you at all, and I would rather just like go die doing drugs in the street than be with you or whatever. And I was just like, what the fuck? And so at some point, through some type of means, is able to get like a ride or a transport back to Kensington, and like within a week is like, you know, laying on a fucking corner somewhere, just completely high as shit on fentanyl and tranquilizer, and is just back to that life, you know. I mean, yeah, killed his soul for sure. Yeah, I don't know. It was weird because the friend that like, you know, did the FaceTime call and like paid all the money, they were just like, they're like, I don't know what to say. Like he was completely lucid, completely fine, totally different than whenever he was like off drugs, because you know that I guess when they're down there in Mexico, they're on this drug, but they also like take some degree of like morphine to like help them transition off the withdrawal symptoms and all that kind of stuff. So like he wasn't going through withdrawal symptoms, he wasn't going through anything. He just like he just openly in his mind just chose that he would rather go live in the streets of Philadelphia than like ever have a normal life again. It was just very, very odd. Right, yeah, if they don't want to be saved, I mean, what can you do? Just odd. Just to choose death. Yeah, and he has kids, has a wife, all that kind of stuff, and just really, really, really sad. Because it's strange, because it's like, wow, we actually found a program to help you sort of like break free a little bit, you know what I mean? And then, yeah, and then just doesn't want to. My cuz did rehab too, living hurt too much. It's tough stuff, man, yeah. And he said that to his kids, I guess so. That's, yeah, it was just the story that I heard. Really fucking sad. I mean, I'm sure his wife probably kept them off the phone, but I don't know. No, it was, I prefaced the story that it was a sad story. There is no happy ending with this one. I mean, maybe at the end he'll like get his shit together, but the social media page that kind of like follows them and shows those addicts, like it's really sad, just zombified and like not all there, and like they literally just seem like they have a head injury. Suboxone is one step away from opiates, just tough to kick. Kratom helps, but they have to want to stop. It's spiritual. Yeah, for sure. Really sad. I asked him again what the F he was playing at, but that time, he lunged at me with the knife, swinging it wildly as he did so. He swung it so hard it made that little swishing sound as it split the air, which should also give you a clue to how large it was, not just how sharp or how fast he swung it. I had enough distance between us to avoid his swing, but afterwards, I had to speed up to keep a safe distance because Toby was starting to speed up and getting more and more keyed up as he did. I went from asking what the hell had gotten into him to screaming for him to keep his distance and stop swinging the blade. We'd now gone past our tent, and I was walking backwards past other people while trying not to trip over their guide ropes. I was still shouting at him to stop, and since there were literally hundreds, my bad. Literally hundreds of Harry Potter wands. My niece got addicted to meth. She had to go to rehab 3 times and had been clean 3 years. She had to be forced to go. Yeah, I think I told you about how I have a family member that struggles with a meth addiction as well, and they're currently in like a forced rehab because I paid for them to go to the one fucking rehab, and it was so expensive, and then they literally left after like 3 days, just like fucking ran away. This is so fucking stupid. And then but now they're in one where they're forced to be there, and they're like doing so good, like doing so fucking good, and I'm just, I don't know, I'm stoked. Like they're in like the hardcore like AA situation, you know what I mean, where you're like part of a Christian group and finding spirituality in God, and also like working and having like someone who's holds you accountable. What's up, Jade? Welcome. And so yeah, that is really positive for me, because that's a much more closer relation than the individual I talked about before. But just crazy. I mean, drug addiction is just, it's all around us, man, and it's really fucking sad. Unpopular opinion, but weed is addicting and does cause problems within families. Yeah, I've seen it, you know what I mean? I definitely know that it's not as bad as like alcohol or, you know, obviously other drugs, but, you know, it can cause issues. It definitely, I've seen close friends of mine that like smoke every day. It definitely seems, and this is different from person to person, but I've definitely seen it, marijuana kill people's motivations. Like basically just, they're okay doing the exact same thing forever, and they have like aspirations to do something, but then they smoke and they're just like, whatever, I guess. As someone smoking a joint right now, I agree. Yeah, you know, it's just, some people can get high all the time and get a shit ton of stuff done, you know, but some people need a degree of sobriety to just like lock in, and, you know, I definitely feel like that would be me, you know, for the most part. Like I don't know, I mainly don't smoke or anything like that just because I think too much, and it causes a lot of like internal anxiety. You researched at one point? Oh, okay, yeah, I'm curious what it's called. Some sort of African root or something. Vibranium. I was still shouting at him to stop, and since there were literally hundreds of people around, gathered in little circles outside their groupings of tents, it took just a few seconds before people clocked what was going on. I was literally begging them to help me with this big fella. Iboga? Iboga sounds kind of familiar. I don't really know. You're gonna Google it? Yeah, Google it and let me know. I was literally begging them to help me when this big fella stepped in. I remember he had a mohawk, a long one tied back in a ponytail with the sides of his head shaved. He stepped towards Toby, saying something like, "That's a big knife you got there, mate. Why don't you give it here before someone gets hurt?" He then took one fast final step towards Toby and tried to grab him by the knife arm, but Toby turned and slashed at him. This big fella immediately backed away, holding his arm and looking shocked while shouting, "You're gonna cut me!" Something like that. Toby turned back to me, and when I took a step backwards, I felt my leg got caught on something before I fell backwards onto my arse. I thought, I'm dead, and I'll never forget how incredibly scared I was looking up at him. But after taking a couple of more steps towards me, Toby was suddenly mobbed by a crowd of people. It was the most stupidly brave thing I'd ever seen in my life. One of the mob was a girl, maybe only 5 foot something, and I think that she might have been the girlfriend of the big fella who got cut. She was right there in the front line of the little circle that closed around Toby, screaming stuff like, "Come on then." I remember watching in awe for a second before someone Someone gave me the grag. Someone offered me a spliff of their ayahuasca joint. Ibogaine with minoxidil. Oh, okay, interesting. Wakanda ... forever? I mean, nothing lasts forever. I drink coffee and smoke my dab pen for breakfast. I have low dopamine, so I use the anxiety as adrenaline to start my day. Interesting. How do you know you have low dopamine? Like, how do they measure that? Wouldn't there be like certain things? Isn't there just like an innate, like, couldn't you just, maybe you could do like low, like level 2 cardio or something in your morning, get like a bike, like a stationary bike, and just watch some YouTube videos while you do like 20 minutes on a bike. Sounds scary as fucking very intense, but apparently some use it to quit drugs. I don't know though. I think I'd be too terrified of having my brain turn to mush gush. Might be worth a try, especially since it's already mush gushy. when you're on Fent. Why I will take breaks from smoking when I get so lost in my thoughts it makes me get anxious. Honestly, I'm kind of proud that I've been sober from weed for a good bit, just small doses. Yeah, you know, I don't know. I think for me, I mean, I enjoy shit when it's just like in a celebratory sense, you know, it's like infrequent uses of stuff. Joel, I'm almost 20. Oh, your birthday? Nice, dude. Happy almost birthday. When's that? Low dopamine is indicated men by high prolactin. Oh, like indirectly determined by like a measurement of prolactin or something. Do you have to do like a blood test or something? Self-diagnosis, yes. Morning exercise helps my emotional regulation. I refuse to take the medication the VA prescribes people with ADHD. PTSD commonly have low dopamine. Oh, right, yeah, I guess like so stimulated you like almost burn out or something like that. I do remember Boop, you kind of talking about that kind of thing. But yeah, I feel like, you know, movement, maybe even like a morning hike or like a morning walk after that, just to loosen up or who knows, maybe who knows how good, you might have a big dopamine release if you did like morning stretching too. Crippling depression, yeah. Apparently some people have inner monologues, like they hear themselves thinking like an inner voice. That's their voice? Oh, you don't have an inner monologue? Or August 1st, your birthday, Jade? Nice, dude. You do anything fun or anything like that? It's all chain when it comes to hormones. I see. I was prescribed Xanax for 6 years, finally got off it 20 days clean. Nice. I mean, yeah, those benzos are scary, dude. I told you about my friend too. Was on like low doses of like Ativan and he got addicted. Hey Joni, long time no see. What's up? Maybe not a long time. I don't know. It feels like it's been a while. Obama. You probably cry or something. It's all good, man. Just get to the gym. Hit the gym. Hit back day. You'll feel better. Enjoy having your wits about you. There's nothing wrong with that. It took me years to understand and for it to really compute that not everyone can tolerate THC. Yeah, for sure. And I guess mainly because I was just so embarrassed by myself, you know what I mean? Whenever I was unsober, just like a really strong sense of like insecurity in my existence, both with my mortality, but also just, you know, you listen to me fucking talk, you know, in my normal baseline self. Can you imagine me when I'm high? I'm just like fucking floating around Saturn. Dad used to drink and do drugs a long time ago before he had me with my mom. Oh yeah, haven't we all? What's up, Ronfo? You don't have any friends yet? Huh, well, maybe you could join something. What's something you can join? Are you still, you said you're still doing classes, so I'm sure there's got to be like a club of a mutual interest or something you could probably join up with, and college is the best time to do that. I love tuning in every Sunday to your stream because I'm at work and this is chill as fuck. Thanks for space. You're welcome. Executive gay. What's up, Semi? I feel like I knew somebody growing up named Semi. It's not you, sorry. But I definitely knew somebody growing up with that name. Go keto unless you make it all your food in the U. Oh, interesting. Do I have an inner monologue? Yeah, for sure. Do you not have an inner monologue, Cinnamon? Maybe that's why we think so differently than each other. Not wildly different, but I did hear that, honestly. I've heard that before, that some people can't hear their own voice in their head or some... I forget what it was. It was like some people think in pictures or something instead. Like they can't take like an apple and like rotate it in like a three-dimensional space or something in their own mind. You love me, love you too. I can't see images in my head, it sucks. That's crazy. Dude, sometimes like I'll take the word, it just says, the word says poop and it's like a big 3D sign. I can rotate it around in different spaces. Sometimes I'll explode it. I'll explode the sign that says poop and then I'll like reverse time and, you know, bring it back into its full poop form. Let's ask ChatGPT. Is there some people who don't have an inner monologue or can't see objects in their head? Joel's obsessed with poop. Dude, poop is peak humor. You think it's not, but wait till I walk up to the president and I say the word poop as I shake their hand. He's gonna be giggling like crazy. Some people do not experience a constant internal voice narrating their thoughts. Instead, they may think in abstract concepts, visual images, emotions, physical sensations. This isn't a disorder. It's just that they're insane and that they are made to serve the great emperor? What? Examples. Instead of thinking, I need to get milk from the store, they might get a mental impulse or image of milk or feel milk. Me need milkies. Milky. Milk. Me milky. Me milk. Now milk. Feel milk. Milk drip. A single milk tear drip down my leg. These individuals cannot visualize images in their mind. They may know what a beach looks like, but can't picture it mentally. Guys, every time you go to the beach, you're like, whoa, I've never been here before. So wait, Beth, you said you can't see pictures in your head, right? Does that mean that you can't, are you not good at drawing either? Like if you had to sit down and draw something from memory, would you not really be able to do it either? Some people have aphantasia. Aphantasia. Interesting. Actively being peeled. What does a beach feel like? What is the so you can't even remember what the sand feels like between your little piggies, which is the technical term for tootsies, which is also slang for feet. You're done. Hey, you're done, kid. You're out of here. Can't say piggies. If you say imagine a red... Oh, look, see? Red apple. They know what it is, but see nothing internally. That's crazy. I'm an artist, but I can only go by reference of what I've seen in real life. Like I know what it looks like so easy, but nothing I imagine. I draw people mainly. Nude models. Leaning up against like a herd of cow. Dang, that's tough though. I'm sorry to hear that. That's great. That's actually fascinating, honestly. It makes me wonder what certain things my brain cannot do that maybe, or like, you know what I mean? Like if there's variation in humans that way between the ability to like contemplate certain things, I wonder if there's like super geniuses or something that have the ability to like see like 50 different stages ahead of time, you know what I mean? Empathy. They have no empathy. They don't know what they don't know what their nude model even feels like inside, sitting there nude, being drawn. Just stick people made out of actual sticks. Language has made it where we can't think of things that aren't words for. Think of things there aren't words for. Right. About colors, remember the 2015 dress? Yeah, wasn't it something like it rotated back and... Oh, wait. Well, that's a good question then. I'm actually curious because you said the 2015 dress, which people said was like gold or like blue. It was like black and gold or, you know, black and blue or whatever. Which then makes me wonder if like memory, you also don't dream maybe once or twice every 2 months. I randomly get flashes of memories of dreams I've had in the past, but no other images in my brain. What the fuck? What happened? Did this start at some point? Was there like a period of time in which there were images and then it went away after some sort of external stimuli of sorts? Perhaps a baseball? Perhaps an apple fell off of a tree from a high height. Just kidding. Where I'm from, plates of meat is Cockney rhyming slang for feet. Plates of meat. Let me see that plate of roast beast. How do you remember things you can't visualize? How do you follow a story you can't picture? I'm more confused. That's a good point, too. I'm wondering, like, where does the... Maybe that's an aspect... I mean, the fact that we can't even understand it means that maybe their brain works faster in some ways, too, because it's so... Like, it's all just, like, you know, right to the emotion or right to the thing, but it clearly manifests in, like, a objective outcome that's similar to ours. Have you ever eaten cow brain? Not that I know of. I don't even really know. I dreamed when I was younger, I think, and when I dream, it's usually always reoccurring. Fascinating. Visual memory center is different, maybe more efficient. Perhaps. Perhaps we need to unlock the basal ganglia. Who knows? Maybe you have psychic powers too. Maybe you have something where you can intuitively just like tell what someone's about to do, but just can't visualize it or something. Well, if you've eaten barbacoa, then you may have eaten raw cow brain. Oh, perfect. When I do dream, I dream that I'm back in high school and I'm 35. Yeah, what does that mean? What would that mean to someone whenever they... I mean, obviously, I guess that was a time in most people's lives when they were insecure and uncomfortable. Also, can you hear Pradeep over there digging around in his poop box? I can use 99% of my brain to 3D print my images into the data sphere. Maybe soon. Perhaps soon. I really do hope that there's some aspects of the brain that can just, like... I don't know. There's been so many times where I dream of, like, music, right? And it's like these unique, presumably unique aspects of like music that are completely unhindered by like my inability to create it in real life, right? Since I don't know how to play any instruments or whatever. But I just think, but in your dream world, it's like the music just plays by itself and goes wherever you want it to go. And I'm like, hopefully one day we have some type of technology that can like manifest it into IRL. I do have a pretty good memory of where stuff usually is, though. I've seen it. I get flashes of where I've seen something last. Okay. So maybe it's just a slightly limited access to that visual cortex or whatever. Fascinating. I'm sure honestly, who knows? Maybe if you just do a bunch of memory games for a while, over and over and over again, you might unlock something or like create those electronic signals within your brain to like get better at visualizing items and things of that nature. I had a dream where I'm lost in a huge building and each door has different things inside. Like one had a forest from another room with a long, dark hallway. Yeah, those are kind of like my favorite dreams where every little area leads to like something completely new. It's the worst because like if you like were to lose a friend, you know, you lose a friend in a music festival, you're probably never seeing them for a while. But in a dream, you lose them for a second, you're never seeing them again. Yeah, every night in my dream I play the brown note, and I wake up in a pool of shit. Alright. I remember watching in awe for a second before someone dragged me up and asked me if I was okay. It might sound a bit weird at the time, but I was terrified for Toby. It was like fear of him. I remember waiting... Man, I'm lost. Hey Annie, what's up? Dreamception. I remember watching in awe for a second before someone dragged me up and asked if I was okay. It might sound a bit weird, but at the time, I was terrified for Toby. It was like the fear of him suddenly became fear for him, and I can't overstate how much it twisted up in my head to think that people protecting me were also threatening my best mate's life, just as he was threatening theirs. There was also this feeling of absolute helplessness to cap off what's probably the worst experience of my whole life, because there wasn't a single thing that I could do except just stand there and watch it all unfold. The group of strangers kept the circle around him, but while the people Toby was facing backed off a bit to stay out of slashing range, the people behind him started rushing in and trying to kick him or shove him. They were hit, They were hit-and-run attacks. Okay. Kitty? Hi, buddy. Does anyone else experience love in dreams? It's the best thing ever. It's not the type we experience in this life. Usually the person doesn't have a face. I've had that. It's a pretty great feeling where you're just like, whoa, it's you. And then then you wake up and you're like, fuck. Love in dreams is something that blows me away a few times, how strong it is. Yeah. Because it's all just like innate. Like it's like almost like, maybe it's like being in love with yourself in a way, because it is technically probably an extension of oneself, I suppose. Or at least in like the spiritual sense of being able to communicate almost like telepathically and directly. Oh yeah, what did you find, Cinemy? Can you describe how your brain works? They were hit-and-run attacks, so Toby would spin around slashing, but they'd immediately back off. Then the people he was facing only a second before started doing the same thing, rushing in with flying kicks before backing off again. It didn't go on for long before a kick knocked him... Man, I can't make it anymore. It didn't go on long before... It didn't go on for long before a kick knocked him off balance and then a shove sent him to the ground. Then when that happened, people just dived on him, and it was complete and utter chaos for a few minutes until a mix of festival security and police ran up shining torches and screaming at people to get back. It was madness, complete and utter madness, and I had this horrible feeling of dread that when they cleared all... Fight back! Fight back with your lightsaber. Do any of you feel like you can actually... Any of you feel like you can actually love yourself unconditionally? Well, it'd be hard to love yourself unconditionally because you kind of hold yourself to some pretty grander standards. And then if you loved yourself unconditionally, would that also lead to you being comfortable with the much darker sides of yourself manifesting more frequently? In which case there is what people describe as the shadow self and being comfortable with that shadow self, but you also have to understand the goal there with the shadow self is you have to control it, you know what I mean? You have to know that you could be dangerous, but you have to mitigate its manifestation in the real world or whatever. If you don't love yourself unconditionally, you have let yourself die a few different ways. I guess it just depends on what the idea is, loving oneself unconditionally, you know? I hear someone's voice if I need to remember what they said. Yeah, maybe that's a echo. But what, you can't hear your own voice in your head? Or you just can't? I mean, I'm sure you could talk. Just talk in your head. Just say the words, but say them in your head. It was madness, complete and utter madness, and I had this horrible feeling of dread that when they cleared away all those people, there might be one or two who didn't get up again, Toby included. Once the police arrived, it didn't take long before people either ran or backed off from kicking the crap out of Toby. I remember seeing a policeman putting handcuffs on him as he lay on his front with his face all covered in blood. He'd gotten the kicking of a lifetime, and he didn't so much as squirm when the policeman locked his wrists together. I don't think he even knew what was going on, and I remember thinking he must have been... I don't think he even knew what was going on, and I remember thinking that he must have been knocked out and was only just coming to. Someone gave one of the policemen the knife that he'd been trying to stab me with, and then someone else directed one of them over to me he's the one he was trying to stab. That policeman ended up asking me questions. Then the next thing I remember, A load of medical people were treating Toby, along with, I think, 3 or 4 people he'd managed to cut or who'd been hurt in the chaos. I remember telling the policeman that we'd had a bit of a scrap earlier that day. Then I hadn't talked to him all day till I returned to my tent at the end of the last show. He asked if Toby was on drugs, and at first I sort of instinctually said no, said nar. When do you guys hear your inner voice? I have several, but the main one is kind of where the soft spot of the skull is. Oh, okay, interesting. You have like locations for the varying voices. That's kind of fascinating. Where do you reference one's shadow self from? That sounds like an interesting read. Yeah, I believe that's Carl Jung. Wait, let's find it real quick. Where is the shadow self from? Can you tell E-Dog goodnight for me? Who's E-Dog? Pradeep? Pradeep, they say goodnight, and your name is E-Dog now. Original. Carl Jung's theory of the psyche. Jung proposed that the human psyche consists of multiple components: the ego, your conscious mind and identity; persona, the social mask you wear; shadow, the unconscious part you reject or repress; animal/animus, inner opposite gender traits; self, the totality of the psyche, including conscious and unconscious aspects. Oh, okay. Interesting, yeah. I saw some meme the other day where it was like, who's the father of psychology? Freud. And he's like, what's up, guys? Who wants to fuck their mom? What? You guys all want to fuck your mom, right? No, why would we want to do... Oh, come on. Everybody wants to fuck their mom. And who wants to kill their dad? I'm going to go kill my dad. I'll be right back. And it is kind of funny. I just remember, like, I used to find psychology, like, really, really boring in school. But I think it was mainly because they were just, like, teaching weird Freud shit about, like, wanting to fuck your mom and kill your dad. And I'm just like, how to... Because, I mean, if it's, like, based on his studies of, like, kids, is he just, like, going up to the kids and being like, so, do you want to fuck your mom? You want to kill your dad? Like, imagine being the little kid being interviewed by Freud and just being like, what the fuck is this guy's problem? The Oedipus. Yeah, I mean, like, I get the words and I get his concepts or whatever, but, like, what the fuck was, like, why was he so confident? Like, where did he get his, like, data? Now you have the context to probably consider the idea so it stands out more. Yeah, it was weird. It's a bit strange. And they were just like, it was weird. In school, it was just, Freud was like so confidently taught, you know what I mean? Like as soon as, I mean, granted it was like kind of showing the contrast between the different like, I guess, psychological models, but, it was weird that they never pretended like Freud was like odd or strange or anything, or even like laugh at like his stuff. It was just like, that's the theory, and he was the first one to do it, and we're sticking to it. But it's also strange to think, like, for the most part, when it comes to like psychology, a lot of it's just like fucking like the same as philosophy. You know what I mean? Like, how is there any difference between like what Carl Jung was positing versus what like Marcus Aurelius or like old scriptural books were kind of like discussing? I mean, really at the end of the day, it's just trying to like work it out what it means to be alive. I mean, I guess there's also certain presentations and like more scientific approaches in the modern sense, but it's also strange to think when it comes to like modern psychology, like contemporary psychology nowadays, I feel like we never get to hear about anything cool anymore. Like, have they figured out anything new at all? I feel like I never hear about it. What's the difference between a fridge and an ice cube? Both cool. Is it a question or is that a joke? That's all theoretical. Very few things beyond attachment theory has been proven. Oh, okay, interesting. Sounds like it would come from an evolutionary point. it would come from an evolutionary point. What do you mean? The Diddy case is a joke. Yeah, it's all very odd. Honestly, I kind of thought Diddy was going to fall pretty hard, but it just goes to show you that, like, as long as you're, I don't know, working as like some abstract honeypot for the government to like control every celebrity's like thought or motive or whatever, you can get away with anything. Because I remember that was really strange because the person who represented Diddy, was it Comey's daughter or something like that? And it like took place in a very specific district or whatever. I don't know. There was like all these particular things that lined up where it was just very sus, you know? It's Hollywood, yeah. I mean, I don't know. For as many like celebrities you see in those like clips and stuff on Instagram of them being like, ain't no party like a Diddy party. Like, you know for a fact that like in the same way that the Epstein list would be like released and the entire economy would collapse or whatever from everybody being like so disgusted by every name on it. In the same way, I'm sure with the Diddy stuff, if everybody was released on who was like a client there or like at the parties and what they did, you probably wouldn't really want to go listen to rap music or like watch NBA games or anything really. Innocent until proven guilty unless you're a victim. We will treat you guilty of lying. I mean, in this situation, it's just case by case, but this is obviously a very notorious case that had some strange and abstract connections here. Favorite fruit? Mango's pretty cool when it's ripe. I love all the fruits, though. Equally. I love all the fruits equally. John Travolta is gay, and the whole thing on The Simpsons about a celebrity Troy McClure banging a fish was based off of Tom Cruise? Did he have sex with a fish? You cutting mango right now? Let's go, dude. I could smell it. But can you picture the fruit in your head? Stare at the mango that you're cutting right now, right? Stare at it very intently. And now close your eyes and then keep thinking about it. And take it and rotate it in your mind. Peel it inside of your head. The voiceover for that character is dead. Which one? Alright, you're babysitting a dog named Mango. That's awesome. I guess we should try to make it through story 1, huh? That'd probably be a good start of the night here. He asked if Toby was on drugs, and at first I sort of instinctually said no, but then realizing how stupid it was being, man. He asked if Toby was on drugs, and at first I sort of instinctually said no, but then realizing how stupid I was being, I changed my story and told them that, yeah, Toby was probably on all sorts of things, but that still didn't explain why he'd tried to kill me. He was a weird guy, one that many people might call a psycho, but I hadn't known him to have any violent tendencies, not till that night at Bloodstock back in 2009. And looking back on it all these years later, saying that I didn't know that he had violent tendencies seems kinda naive. Toby glorified violence, and he did it constantly. Deep down, I think I always knew that he had it in him to really hurt someone. I just didn't think that person would be me, and neither did I expect the entire black metal community in Sheffield to take his side and not mine. When I realized they all cared more about his arrest and trial than they did about whether or not I was okay, I stopped drinking at that bar and stopped hanging around with the people who drank there. They never said it outright, but I knew they blamed me somehow for what had happened to him, and I had to explain to one girl how it wasn't even me that was pressing charges. It was the CPS on behalf of the people he'd slashed. I heard he got well, I try to say Irish wristwatch. Irish wristwatch. With that purty voice, with that purty little mouth. Irish wristwatch. Irish wristwatch. What if that was like the secret code word to get into a club or something, or a safe house? And then you couldn't say it right, so they just shot you. Mango pepper chicken with chipotle and ghost pepper cheesy pasta. Oh my god, are you making that, Queen? Yas, Queen. You live on a street named Sheffield? That's sweet. When I join an Irish gang, I don't know if they would let me in. I'd be too kind. I'd be the nicest gang member. Hey guys, we kind of need that money that we loaned you a while ago. I mean, whenever you get a chance, like, just give it back to us, okay? But they said if you don't have it by, like, the 15th, like, then there might be, like, consequences, but it's, like, no big deal. Like, we just come and, like, break you. Well, they said they want to break your kneecaps. I'm not going to break your kneecaps, but let's just say that they might. They might. Or if the password was Worcestershire, I opened my fridge to spell that. That's funny. Let me open this fridge. Fridge, how do I spell? He, like, talks to you. reading my crew to bed every night round the fire with Dutch and Jebediah. I heard he got 2 years in prison from one of the few people I stayed in touch with. Then after that, I never saw or heard from him ever again, and went back to hanging out exclusively with my friends from school, half of which knew what an absolute wrongin'. Then after that, I never saw or heard from him ever again, and went back to hanging out exclusively with my friends from school, half of which knew what a wrongin' Toby was from the moment they'd met him in that bar. I still listen to a bit of black metal every now and then, but since my tastes have evolved over the last 20 years or so, it's mainly for the nostalgia value. I don't idolize the bands anymore, and I find the vibe of some of the darker bands just kinda cringeworthy these days. Music is supposed to make people happy and bring them together, and for the most part, that's exactly what black metal does. But I know firsthand that for some people, all that worship of Satan, violence, and death, it's not just theater. It's a reflection of something much, much darker they carry inside of them. A big butt plug. Alright, that took me almost 2 hours to read. We're doing good. Is diet soda actually better than regular? I mean, it's debated, I guess. I mean, objectively speaking, like, supposedly the calories are inert, you know what I mean? Meaning that your body doesn't digest them or turn them into fat. But there have been people that say that, you know, you do still have like a insulin response to like drinking diet soda. So like an insulin is one of those hormones that when it's elevated, you tend to like hang on to like fat rather than utilizing the fat. But at the same time, like a lot, you know, guys like that Mike Israetel obviously knows quite a bit about nutrition and training, seems to think that there's no issues with diet soda. And I don't know. Yeah, Diet Dr. Pepper is the way to go. Zero sugar, though. It's got to be the zero sugar. Normal Diet Dr. Peppers kind of like tastes like metal. Your son is winning for the best record for bedtime stalling. Been stalled for over six hours at this point. Can you say, "It's fucking Peaky Blinders"? It's a fucking Peaky Blinders. Oh, mate. It's a fucking Peaky Blinders. Fucking Peaky Blinders. Fucking Peaky. The picky boogers. Triple Clef, thank you for the one gifter to Benjamin Martinez. What's up, Mad Dog? Why do they even make the old diet stuff still? I don't know. I'm sure it's for like some people just like the taste, you know, you never know. Cheeky rascals. But yeah, I do find the zero sugar shit just like so much more preferable. What's up, Sam? I know you've been here for a while, but I don't know if I said any any sups and pups. Depends on how much you drink. If you drink regular or 1 or 3 sodas a month, if you drink sodas constantly every day, you do the diet. I don't know. I got some right here. Did I see the Diddy verdict? Yeah, we were just talking about it. I think you'll come again. That's what they said when they let Diddy off. They have not pulled the diet soda off the market all because they're still able to sell the stuff at cost. Oh, right. All right. If you have money, you're above the law. But it's not just money. It's connections. Because you really have to ask yourself, genuinely ask yourself. So Diddy was like some prominent figure within like the music industry, right? For decades and decades. And he just like has all these like abstract parties where allegedly there was human trafficking, underage trafficking, sex slavery, violence, intimidation, you know what I mean? Just like all this stuff. And you like, do you really think Diddy was just sort of like operating as like some Scarface mastermind by himself without like some, top-down influence or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, I genuinely don't imagine if he, like, the only thing I can imagine is that he was like something similar to Epstein, where there's like some sort of intelligence group or some sort of something above him that's kind of giving him his marching orders and collecting these quote-unquote assets of like people in the industry, and you essentially get like free reign to do whatever you want. And then if things go south, I don't know, they just cover for you or like put the appropriate pieces together within the legal system to like get you off. Western Pennsylvania accent? I'm not really sure what that would sound like. What's up, Hawk? Oh, Lynn's going to bed. Night, Lynn. I don't know. I think he got like 2 counts of something, which who knows how long that's going to be. I think it totals to a decade or whatever, but I'm sure. I don't know. I genuinely thought it was going to be like hundreds. You know what I mean? I thought it was going to be like 1,000 people coming forward or whatever, and he was going to have to like just be like bankrupt and in court for a long. I don't know. It came and went so fucking fast, you know. Yeah, big baby oil always gets what they want. Please don't go down this roll and get it wrong, because I got too many opinions and I will turn this whole chat into a crazy interaction. Wait, what do you mean? I don't understand. I also suspect Juror 5 might be a law student and the jury chose this to avoid appeal. Do you think Diddy would create his own brand of baby oil? I think at this point he might as well. Of course, he still seems to have... That'd be funny if he sued the police department to get all of his oil back. Changes his name to Bay Oil. Bay Oil. Still wondering why this trial wasn't televised or broadcast. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like, it was just... It reminded me way too much of, like, a parallel to, the Ghislaine Maxwell shit and the Epstein stuff, you know what I mean? Like, there's just something too weird about it. My name's Ben, and in the summer of 2008, me and a few friends decided that we'd go to the Leeds... My name's Ben, and in the summer of 2008, me and a few friends decided that we'd go to the Leeds Festival. And for those that don't know, Leeds Fest is a 3-day music and camping event that's named after where it's held. In years prior, the mostly indie band lineup had never interested us, but when the 2008 lineup was announced, that all changed. Leeds 2007 featured the likes of Arcade Fire and Kings of Leon, with Fall Out Boy delivering a twist of pop punk. But then in 2008, Some of the first acts announced were Slipknot, Metallica, and most importantly, Rage Against the Machine. I had been a huge fan of Rage ever since I saw the music video for Sleep Now in the Fire around the year 2000. But since I was only 12 when I got into them, and considering they broke up just a year after that, I thought my chance to see them live had very much come and gone. I was ecstatic in 2007 when rumors of their reformation circulated, but even when they did, I thought that they'd just do a few shows up in the US, but never tour Europe. So when it was announced that they were playing Leeds, I fought tooth and nail to get a ticket, and so did my friends. And to get there, we convinced my friend's dad to drive us down in the back of his van, but not like a people carrier. I'm talking like a big white van with nothing but storage space. Storage. Well, that's kind of interesting. He was working with represented by Johnson & Johnson. If I was the president and people were accusing me of being a pedophile, I'd release records proving I'm not right. Yeah, I don't know, man. Shit's crazy. We're in a very weird, abstract time right now where nothing is quite what it seems. But not like a people carrier. I'm talking like a big white van with nothing but storage space in the back. And this was very illegal, but very cool, like we were being smuggled into an actual music festival. The vibes were great from there on out, and that first day, we caught Dropkick Murphys, Feeder, Tenacious D, and Metallica. But sadly not Slipknot, as Joey Jordison, rest in peace to the drum god, had to pull out with some health issues. We all headed back to the tents, had a few drinks, and then woke up on that Saturday raring to go. We all liked Metallica, but we had Queens of the Stone Age and Rage to look forward to, so we spent the whole day floating from show to show in anticipation of the big two come the end of the day. The thing is, we weren't the only ones. With them being such a massive band, Queens of the Stone Age pulled a huge audience, and as their set came to a close, the legions of people who'd bought a ticket purely for Rage Against the Machine started filtering through the crowd and closer to the stage. My friends and I did the same, not pushing, but just weaving through the groups of people until we were as close as possible to the band we'd all. Went to Rockville in Florida. What's up, Andromeda? How we doing? I was smuggled into a music festival before. The security guy felt my leg and beat me with a metal flashlight. I was 19, so to me that was a good deal. I didn't cry out at all. They let me in. Jesus. What were they, like? Were you in like a bag? Like a burlap sack? Why would he hit it? Would he like saw something and just like hit it? My friends and I did the same, not pushing, but just weaving through the groups of people until we were as close as possible to the band we'd all come to see. The only problem was, that's exactly what everyone else did too. As more and more people pushed their way towards the front, people nearer the back started bunching up too, and before long, my friends and I were all squished together and there was barely room to move. We weren't uncomfortable just yet. Having your personal space violated is all kind of part of the festival experience. But after the band took the stage, then opened with, I see. Rockville. Sneaking in a Ziploc bags taped to our nuts. That's hilarious. Used to work for Sony Music. Went to all the shows in the 80s backstage. That's awesome. We We weren't uncomfortable just yet. Having your personal space violated is all part of the festival experience. But after the band took the stage, then opened with Bulls on Parade, everything changed. As you can imagine, everyone went mental when Rage played their first song, and there was enough moving and jumping around that it opened up a bit of space. But when they finished and went into their second, the crush started. One of my friends, who wasn't that much of a Rage fan, recognized what was coming immediately and said something along the lines of, "I'm getting out of here." But the rest of us stayed, thinking it couldn't get any worse. But it did. I remember hearing a girl scream, but not out of enthusiasm. Her friend had passed out and she wasn't strong enough to hold her up. I saw someone trying to help the two girls, but almost everyone else was too distracted by the music and the band on stage to pay attention to anything else. They were right in the middle of the mosh pit too, so people were smashing into them, and after they fell down, they were in real danger of getting trampled by the people who surged forward whenever there was space. I tried to push through the crowd to give the lad helping them a hand, but I realized I couldn't. The crush where I was at was so bad it was getting hard to breathe. If memory serves, Rage were to crush. I totally forgot how one of these crowds crushes happened at a Diddy show too. Oh Jesus, that's crazy. Yeah, didn't it happen at like a Travis Scott thing as well, or something along those lines? Pretty freaking insane. Rage against the ice machine. Rage against the vending machine. If memory serves, Rage were about to launch into their second song, but then they suddenly stopped playing to call attention to what was occurring. People at the front, the ones being crushed up against the metal barriers, were passing out because they couldn't breathe. Security was having to shove people back before dragging the unconscious ones over the barriers, and when Rage's lead singer saw this, he stopped the show and ordered the stage lights to be turned up so people could see what was going on. I had totally lost my friends by then. The crush took us all different ways as people were pushed together and apart and away from one another. The sense of helplessness was horrible, and although I never really got the sense that I might die, I knew that there was a chance others hadn't gotten so lucky. But as a friend of mine pointed out, there was a kind of naive ignorance in me thinking that, which probably amounts to some kind of mental shield. If the band hadn't stopped the ging, Almost every major band has some kind of crushing death incident. Yeah, you think they would figure out some better systems. Lion King's Mufasa death, but death by cry, right? Yeah. Like you go to... Hi, kitty. You go to like jump into crowd surf. I always had a really cool idea for like a music video, like a heavy metal music video, and like basically the whole crowd is just like a bunch of like flesh-eating zombies, right? Just like trying to reach up and like grab the band and like pull them in and shit. And, you know, just like close-ups of them being like, rah, rah, you know, monsters and stuff. And then the band's up there just doing their thing, like lip-syncing to the music and cool angles and jump cuts and all that kind of shit. And at the end, he just like stage dives into the audience to like finish the song. And then the zombies just like, I don't know, rip him to pieces and shit. I just think that would be kind of sick. So if anybody produces any cool music videos for a metal band, please do that ASAP. Robin can make that. That would be dope. Never been to a concert. Seems like a pain in the ass, but I'll probably go to one someday. Yeah, it's loud as fuck, so you might want to bring like some sort of ear things to protect. And, nothing to be embarrassed by, because you don't want to leave the venue with, like, ringing in your ears, which usually occurs. And then it's also very sweaty, right? So you're just, like, usually smushed up against people. I mean, you can go to concerts and actually get seats and stuff, so you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. But if the ones where you're, like, actually in the mosh pit down at the bottom, it is pretty cramped and annoying, and people are pushing each other, and you're like, fucking stop. And they're like, no, you fucking stop. Hey, you're pushing me. Hey, a bit rude. Earplugs when vacuuming? Yeah. Yeah, you could get noise-canceling headphones. Hey, you're digging in me. You're digging in my butt. If the band hadn't stopped the gig when they did, then I really could have been one of those getting crushed or trampled on, and the longer it went on, the worse it would have gotten. Just look at what happened with that Astroworld festival in America. It's absolutely terrifying to know that me and my friends were just minutes away from a very similar, if not identical, outcome. The second there was enough space, I started pushing my way through the crowd quite forcefully, and I won't lie, I was properly panicking by then, and I didn't care if I'd waited almost a decade to see Rage Against the Machine. It wasn't worth losing my life over. The crowd was still so dense in parts that I had to literally shove my way through, and some people didn't take too kindly to that, but I remember one guy tried patting me on the back as I brushed up against him, so he must have read it on my face that I'd been in the crush and was just in survival mode. Once the crowd started to thin out, I remember stopping by another set of barriers with a gap near it, one which loads of people. One which loads the loads. Hi off, Molly. Have you seen my friend Molly? I do remember in 2014 going to some, Firefly Music Festival. And some guy just some weirdo, walking up to me and I don't even remember what he said. He said something he brought his finger down and brought it down my chest from bottom down to my stomach. He's like, you could use some drugs or something like that. And he always looked like he was high out of his mind, but was doing some weird sensual shit to try and sell me drugs. And I said, no thank you, weedhead. You've had enough. All right, bucko, back off. And then I reached my hand up into his mouth, and he's like, and then I twisted my wrist forward, and it just snapped his neck backwards. It's unfortunate it had to happen that way, but that's how it goes at those festivals. A lot of people get killed by superhumans. Once the crowd started to thin out, I remember stopping by another set of barriers with a gap near it, one which loads of people were walking through as they headed back to their tents. I could still see Rage playing, but I mainly stopped there to keep an eye out for my friends. I didn't know if any of them had been the ones dragged over the barriers or if they had been trampled in that mosh pit gone wrong. So as they filed past, one by one over the course of Rage's set, it was a huge relief, and there were many man hugs to go around. We were all quite shaken, and while no one was seriously hurt, our one friend Danny came out the worst of it because he'd fallen into the pit and had his face literally jumped on at one point. There was this massive half-scrape, half-burn type injury on his cheekbone where it really did look like a rubber sole had smashed into his face before slipping. I'd never seen a wound like that, honestly. We asked if he wanted to go to the medical tent or whatever, and he was a bit worried about a concussion. A concussion. Yeah, that's my shadow side, preventing me from going out and killing every drug dealer. JK. This chat is brutal. Concerts are the best when you have seats and you get to know the people around you and have a little family for the night. That is fun, yeah. It's like being next to someone on a plane that's pleasant. Slipknot's Duality was filmed in a fan's house while the parents were out and was thrashed and they paid to repair it. Well, that's good. Starting Kensington, yeah, Jesus Christ. Kensington. I'm quitting weeds because I eat too much. Normally I'd be stuffing my face right now. No worries. We asked if he wanted to go to the medical tent or whatever, and he was a bit worried about a concussion and all that, so we went and got him checked out before heading back to our tents. There we drank away our sorrows that the gig of a lifetime... Oh, wait. There we drank away our sorrows that the show of a lifetime had been so scary and anticlimactic. I'd looked forward to it for months, and then 3 minutes in, I'd rather have been anywhere else on the planet, and it sucked. We spent the next day just kind of chilling, catching a band here and there, but mostly just moping around and being gutted that Rage had gone so badly. But it wasn't just that. And looking back on it, it's weird that we'd kind of pushed all these thoughts to the back of our minds, probably so we wouldn't have to address it and we could at least try to enjoy the rest of the festival. But then after we got back and found out people had heard about the crush, there was no hiding from it. A few people had to go to the hospital because of how badly they'd been crushed, and the fact that we hadn't been in the worst parts of the crush were... Oh, okay. A few people had to go to the hospital because of how badly they'd been crushed, and the fact that we hadn't been in the worst parts of the crush was a matter of pure luck. If we'd been a little closer to that stage and Rage hadn't had the presence of mind to stop the gig when they did, the situation could have been much, much worse. Who's Joel's crush? I don't think I have crushes on people, honestly. People just crush on me. They crush me. They make me small with a little shrink ray, and they crush me in their fingers. Smush me around. Hollywood crush? No, just because everyone in Hollywood's retarded. You know what I mean? Like, you listen to them talk for like 3 seconds and they don't have like an original thought. They just say whatever they need to say to exist, like within like the system of perpetuating their, career or dollar dues and all that kind of stuff. And they're also not very smart, you know what I mean? Even whenever you give them a chance, even when you give them a little soapbox or whatever to speak, they tend not to have like any degree of intelligence. Pedro Pascal? I don't know. I never really listened to him speak, but I highly doubt that anybody from Hollywood like is some sort of fucking scholar. I mean, the whole job is just to like pretend to be someone else your whole life, and you're also like, if you really think about it, like the system in which you exist, it's kind of like a winner takes all mentality. So you kind of have to like make friends with people in these sort of like abstract fake ways. You're never quite comfortable in your own skin. You're worried about what people think about you, and there's a degree of like uniform thought between all of them. It's just, yeah, it's definitely not reality. And I guess, who knows, maybe the people that you see and what they say on the red carpet and all those interviews, probably definitively is not the true side of themselves, and certainly not their shadow self. What's his name say again? It was their persona. You see a persona of your Hollywood person, but I don't know, when you get a little taste of their, I guess, ego, it's almost just like, all right, I'd rather just like watch you on the screen and never hear you talk. Yeah, Jack Black's cool though. There are smart actors and dumb ones, just like the lawyers and doctors and everyone. I suppose so, yeah. Also, maybe I should take a quick break, and since we're on our last story here, it's kind of a long one, but I'm attracted to intelligence. I definitely am, for sure. I mean, it is really refreshing when you come across someone who has, like, some modicum of, like, I don't know, independent thought, you know what I mean? Am I emotionally intelligent? Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I'm pretty good at reading people's body language and shit like that, and most of the time in real life, people like me. Like, there's really very seldom ever a time I interact with anyone where they just, like, don't like me. Full of hoods? What's a hood? You def don't want a dumb doctor or lawyer, yeah, no, for sure. You hate Jack Black? I mean, that's fair. Jim Carrey? I don't know about Jim Carrey. He seems pretty out there. Alright. I'll BRB. BRB. Okay. Wait, why did you say those clouds look like ass cheeks? That's a bit of a Freudian slip from you. You're seeing Rorschach ass cheeks. Alright, guys. I almost bought pickle cotton candy today, but chickened out. Hasn't even tried it. That sounds kind of good. Did I dookie? No, I just... pissed. Poised. Took a big old poise. Alright, man. Alright, man. Anything cool going on? Clouds can take the shape of ass cheeks, this is true. Did I make tea? No, it's just water. But I did take some magnesium. Isn't it crazy? Any one of you could be taking a poop right now and I'd never know. Oh, I'd know. I always know. I can smell it. My name's Sarah, and going to a music festival a few years back was somehow one of the best and worst decisions I have ever made in my life. It wasn't a huge festival, and the guys who organized it were total idiots, so I don't want to give them any free promotion by saying which one it was. But it took place in the middle of nowhere, in a whole bunch of fields, and it was mostly EDM all night until dawn. We bought our tickets online, bought camping equipment, and the whole deal. And we were super stoked to attend, and while that first night was amazing, the second night, not so much. A friend and I had been dancing in a big tent together to a DJ we both liked, then after a set was over, we decided to take a break and get some water. Once we were outside, she realized that she needed to go do something related to feminine hygiene, and I offered to join her, if only for company, and she said no, it was fine, that she'd just go to our tent and come straight back again. Oh, they were dancing in a big tent. Totally different tent. The 10-year-old says hello, Joel, in chat. Hello, 10-year-old. Your mother says bedtime, brother or sister. Once we were outside, she realized that she needed to go do something related to feminine hygiene. I offered to join her, if only for the company, and she said no, it was fine, that she'd just go to our tent and come straight back again. I was like, okay, cool, and then watched her walk off before heading back inside with my water. Now, I'm a girl in my 20s. I work out and I've been told I'm pretty, so I'm used to a certain amount of male attention, and I'm not obnoxious about it. I usually just lie and tell the guy I have a boyfriend, even in situations where I might kind of be into a guy, because I don't want to have to play the dating game when I'm just trying to have fun with friends, you know? I'd already had one or two guys shoot their shot with me, and they'd taken it like gentlemen, when I kind of told them to buzz off. But then this one guy started trying to dance with me. Some dumb, sloppy drunk in a dirty white tee who smelled like stale beer and cigarettes, and he would not take no for an answer. It got to the point where I was just wasn't having. Sorry, I have a boyfriend. Guy. Yeah, me too. They share a boyfriend. I got bit by a dog a few days ago and my carpal tunnel bone is crushed. Damn, dude. What happened? What dog? Favorite voice to fall asleep to? Thank you, Lindsay. Krusty Krab. It got to the point where I just wasn't having fun anymore, so I waited for an opportune moment to just slip away from the guy, and then walked all the way outside to the tent to wait for my friend outside. God damn it. God fucking damn it. Reading stories pisses me off. It got to the point where I just wasn't having fun anymore, so I waited for an opportune moment to slip away from the guy, and then walked all the way outside the tent to wait for my friend outside. I thought that I'd given the guy the slip at first, like I really did wait till his back was turned away and darted off into the crowd and toward the exit. But somehow he managed to tail me outside, and then started asking where I was going and why I was ditching him. Now I said, I told you 20 times already, I have a boyfriend. But then he says, that's chill, we're just vibing out, you know. But in a way that was clearly not friend-zoning me in the minimal. Things were actually starting to get pretty heated, with the guy saying something along the lines of, what the hell's your goddamn problem? You think you're better than me? And then suddenly, a stranger stepped in. Lisa, the stranger said, like they were pleasantly surprised to see me. Oh my god, what the hell are you doing here? Mom didn't tell me you were home from college. And to make it clear, I had never seen this person before in my life, and I had never been to college. But they seemed to insist that me and him were cousins. He mentioned it like twice in quick succession, then turned to the guy bothering me, saying, and who's this guy? Are you going to introduce me? I told him I didn't know the guy, and then my new cousin turned to him and said, hey man, I get you two were hanging out, but do you mind if we have ourselves a little cousin catch-up time? It's been a while since me and Lisa have seen each other. Now my name is not Lisa, but I just went with it, and the guy bothering me seemed to swallow that hook, line, and sinker. The stranger even topped it off by a playful, Lisa. My dog, I have bitches and heat, and my sire wanted to do his own thing. Oh, fuck, I'm sorry. Lisa. The stranger even topped it off with a bit of a playful but firm, you're not about to start hitting on my cousin right in front of me, are you, bruh? Incredibly, the guy that had been bothering me, who'd been aggravated to the point I thought that he might start a fight, just laughed. It was like the kind stranger had rolled a charisma check in D&D and then hit a perfect natural 20 right there in front of me. The guy bothering me then says, me? Nah man, it's all good, I'm just out here vibing. Then after reaching in to give us both fist pumps, he wandered back into the big tent to rejoin the party. I remember turning to the kind stranger, half stunned and half impressed, before thanking him for stepping in so masterfully. He said it was no problem, and that the cousin trick had worked a bunch of times before. He then introduced himself as Aaron, and I jokingly introduced myself as Lisa before telling him my real name. I explained the situation, and not just that the guy had been bugging me, but that I had been waiting for my friend to come back out from our tent. It then occurred to me that she'd been an unusual... Anyone else have children's rooms that are frightening? What? Like the kid in there is scary? Rolled a nat 20. That was funny. Straight vibing. If they're full of stuffed toys and dolls, they're frightening. Oh, that's true. What the furk? Your childhood bedroom was haunted? Really? What happened? What the flip happened? Hey, Justin. Well, I summoned you when I said what the furk. That's funny. Your Honor, with a flirty floop. It then occurred to me that she'd been an unusually long time, like way longer than either of us expected, and then it might be an idea to go check on her now. And I said that to Aaron, saying it was nice meeting him and I was grateful for him stepping in, but that I had to go find my friend because I was worried about her. He then suggested he accompany me to keep annoying guys at bay, kind of like a free bodyguard, and I just say, alright, sure, why not? We started walking and talking, swapping festival stories and talking about which DJs we enjoyed so far, and Aaron seemed like a great guy. He'd gotten a ride with a few individual friend. Should have seen him when the sheriffs picked him up. I miss him so much. Oh wait, you lost your dog because of that? I'm sorry. I got sleep paralysis in there when I was a teenager and saw a dark black blob darker than the room, but it was my parents' room prior, and my mom saw a little boy ghost and heard my dad's name called. Wow. What happened in that house? Probably something pretty spooky, I imagine. Did we do super cool fun things without you? Yeah. Pretty much everyone right now is just wearing a bow tie. That's all we have. He'd gotten a ride with a few friends of his who were apparently off seeing a DJ he wasn't a huge fan of, so he decided to kind of wander around soaking up the vibes and discovering some new music. That's when he saw me. I told him, before he got the wrong idea, that I had a boyfriend. This was a lie, but like I said, it's pretty liberating not feeling that dating pressure or having to assume a guy has ulterior motives when it seems like he's just being nice. Aaron then says, I figured you might be taken, but that's not what I'm about. And explained he too was in a relationship, but that it was complicated. I asked if all his vocabulary was taken from Facebook relationship statuses, and he just sort of laughed and asked if that's how I was thanking him for saving my ass, with insults. And we went back and forth like that for a while, and I'll admit, I started really enjoying Aaron's company. But as he passed the area his tent was at, he asked me to wait a minute while he went and got something from his bag. I said sure, and then a minute later, he came back with 2 bottles of water. Now, it was a super warm evening, but the humidity was out of this world. So while there was a lot of alcohol being drunk, there was a butt ton of water being drank too, mainly by people who were on things other than booze. Aaron then comes back with 2 unopened bottles of water and offers me one. I had my own water bottle, but it was only being a quarter. But with it only... Oh, I see. Hey, Anonymous tipped $1, says to Joel, enjoying new member and subscribership. Thank you, friend. Appreciate you. Anonymous. Is a tad bit psychic. I feel things that aren't there. Hand to God. Interesting. You feel it in the air. Can you tip anonymously? Yeah, I think through the Streamlabs option, which is like linked in the thing. And then you can just do it anonymous. Rather than like super chat or whatever. Or whatever. Whatever you wanna do. I lived on an old graveyard when I lived in Pennsylvania. Gross. I've never set foot in one ever since. Yikes. Hey, sisters. Hey, siblings. Seriously not a fan of those dolls, and funny thing was Annabelle was just a raggedy doll. Yeah. Was she nice, though? Any paranormal moments? Yeah, living on that, I do remember I had a friend drive home after work, and they lived next to a graveyard. Always seemed like it'd be really creepy. She said it was quite peaceful. So cool actually hearing you talk normally after listening to stories. Oh, thank you, GP. Feeling very GP. I had my own water bottle, but it was only a quarter full and warm, and I probably could have used a fresh one. But accepting a fresh bottle of water from Aaron would have also broken the #1 rule of festivals or raves for me. Do not, under any circumstances, accept drinks from people you do not trust with your life. It's probably the oldest, most tried, and most tested rule of raving and nightclubbing, and it's usually the first thing most girls learn whenever they head out into the night for the first time. Rules, as they say, are written in blood, and if that is true, this chapter is a long one. I feel like everyone knows someone who's been spiked at a party these days, or someone who at least got scared that they were having too much to drink on an empty stomach. So it's one of these things that's firmly built into what you might call the collective consciousness of girls. And this meant that the second Aaron offered me that bottle of water, that water bottle.
Bottle of water. They offered me a bottle of water with a bit of drugs in it. It's got raw hypnol. It's a date rape drug. Oh, you're not supposed to drink that. Us British girls know you're not supposed to drink that. Makes you all wobbly like. Oh, but he's real cute. Real charmer. Oh, you do what you want. Do whatever you want.
Anyways, God, I do wonder whenever like Americans start talking like that, if like people from the UK are just like, oh my God, what's wrong with these people? I saw a video earlier of like Japanese people doing impressions of like what they think Americans, or like people who speak English, sound like. It was pretty funny. It's kind of making noise like, oh, yeah, I can't believe, wow, that's not me at all. I couldn't even have any of it, huh? I love hearing people do American accents. Crack me up. Oh yeah, those are pretty good. Honestly, the British are the best at it. It's weird that they don't do it more often. Maybe they don't find our accent very entertaining, but I like all their accents. They're hard not to emulate. From the UK, and that's pretty accurate. Just
not heavy on the accent thought. Depends which part of the UK.
Shakespeare at William, 1600. Do you know what year Shakespeare died? Quiz question. Quiz, Basil, quiz. And this meant that the second Aaron offered me the water bottle, I was instantly sort of like, nah. I didn't voice any of my suspicions out loud. I didn't want to offend the guy, but I also think that he took a major hint when I said, no thanks, I'm good. And then he responds, huh, okay. I guess I'll keep it handy if you change your mind. And I remember thinking, I definitely won't be changing my mind about that water anytime soon. But I thanked him anyway, and we kept on walking towards where me and my friend were camped out. I guess that might sound super odd to some. Like I mistrust this guy enough that I won't drink his water, but okay with him walking me to my tent. I suppose it is kind of contradictory, but I didn't make the rules when it comes to keeping safe at events like that. I just follow them, and they've worked out for me so far. Now anyway, Aaron and I wandered back to my tent, chatting back and forth the whole time, and I remember getting some really good vibes from him. But then we got back to the tent, and I excused myself to go check on my friend. I was worried that she might not...
You fucking boat.
Ever spiked myself? Yeah, just on my own birthdays. When I take myself out on dates. First thought was 1617. I think it's 1616 is when he died. Because I did a project on it in middle school. When did Shakespeare die? Shakespeare died April 23rd, 1616 in Stratford-upon-Avon, England. How old was he? How old was he? Shakespeare was 52 when he died. He was baptized, that's important, on April 26, 1564. And although his exact birth date isn't confirmed, it's traditionally celebrated April 23rd, 1564, the same date he died in 1616. Oh, he died on his birthday. Damn. I have like low levels of deficient of A dopamine and high levels of prolactin. Going for a walk or exercise doesn't increase dopamine with those who have low dopamine. That's crazy. We talked about that hours ago. Why? I don't understand why chat sometimes is like so wildly far behind. It's always weird. Like, I don't understand if YouTube just like has glitchy shit or what, but it's really odd. Shake my spear. I was worried she might not be there, in which case, where the hell? Oh, yeah, I went back to 10, chatting back and forth, and I remember again. But when we got back to the next, oh yeah. He was just a lad. It is kind of weird, like, you know, been doing YouTube since I was 24. It's been 11 years, you know, and I still feel essentially like the same person to a degree, but it's just strange to think, like, there will come a day where, like, 52 will happen, and, I don't know. You know, you probably do feel pretty young at that age. Been doing YouTube since I was born. I am eternal. Maybe I won't die, ever. That'd be cool. Would you guys be okay with me living forever? You passing on the stream to your kids? Excuse me. Goes fast, yeah. Marianka, what would you... Well, first off, how old are you, and what would you suggest at our age? All of us in here are 35. And what would you suggest that we do now so that we get ahead of it? Yeah, inherit me like an old tortoise, a 105-year-old tortoise. Let's read Junior. It's some 5-year-old explaining a murder case. Yeah, so basically he like ripped off his fucking face and ate it. Pretty crazy, right? And then he gets kidnapped on stream. Help! Jesus Christ! 52 tomorrow, basically? Are you really, Justin? I had no idea. The Galapagos narrator. There's a little frog outside my light right now, and he just eats the bugs. That's good. He just turned 42. Yeah, but how do you feel? You know what I mean? Like, what's the feel? What's the real feel? Feel so young at 20. Yeah, it's good to feel young. Just, what do you do? What would I suggest at 20? Hit the gym, get on a good push-pull program, eat clean, do your cardio, do your stretches, try to get, you know, stay on top of that shit, but also try to, like, avoid any alcohol as far as like getting addicted to it or anything like that, and try to establish some degree of like a good job. Man, what incredible advice I just gave. Man, no one could have ever thought of that on their own. Never gonna get to grow old, but I'm over it. Wait, why won't you get to grow old, Hawk? Are you is somebody planning on eating you? What about cheeseburger? You could eat cheeseburger if you want. But first you have to eat hot dog. I'm gonna get my advice from the tester source. Yeah, straight from the tap. Read mine. I didn't see yours. I look way younger. I'm young at heart. When I start to When I start thing old, kill me. Just someone comes to your house like, what are you doing here? You're like, well, you told me when you start to feel old to kill you, so I'm here to kill you. I'm 63, the world is doomed. Be patient, be kind, don't lie. Help when you can, and shine like a diamond. Hell yeah, dude, that sounds pretty doable. I'm like, you know what? I'm not just gonna shine like a diamond. I'm gonna shine like a quartz stone that's been washed in river water. Been pretty active on eating clean for a while now. I've been trying to be more consistent in the gym. So far it's going good. So advice is motivating. Yeah, I mean, just make it a part of your life for the rest of your life. Like, you'll just be so above and beyond all your other peers if you just like am working out now until, you know, you do it now on the push-pull program or whatever of like bodybuilding stuff. And then by the time you're 30, you're going to be like definitively jacked and like in good shape, and like you're never, you know what I mean? You're never not going to do that or whatever. Daniela Ramirez, what's up, dude? Fuck, I sneezed once and now I'm all sorts of verklempt, as they say. Have bad arthritis. Look after your bones. Yeah, how do we avoid the arthritis part? Do we have to like avoid sugar forever? I'll give you permission to kill me when I start to feel old, but you have to start with, hey friends. Hey friends, I'm here to assassinate this person. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised at one point, like the Canadian government makes it so they have euthanasia, but now they have like it's euthanasia, but like an Uber service. So anybody can sign up and be like a euthanizer. And you could just like have some random dude show up and be like, hey, I'm Todd, I'm here to kill you, I guess. Do you have like a preferred method? And they're like, well, what do you have? And I'm like, I mean, I have like one bullet left in my 9mm, which might take you out if I hit like the brainstem, but I do have a sledgehammer, and honestly, I've used it before, and like people do go down pretty fast, but I fucked it up one time, and it didn't look fun. I don't know. I mean, can you like pre-tip? Can you pre-tip me? Just because, like, you know what I mean? Like, after I do it, you're going to be gone, and like, who's going to, you know, like, has a tip option? Just, I don't know. You don't have to. Also, do you want that Xbox? The Xbox 9000. In the future. In the future, when Canada has euthanasia delivered straight to your door, Xbox is the only console left. There are no PCs. There is no Nintendo Switch because it sucks. There's only Xbox. I've never been tipped at all on your euthanasia appointments. Beginning to see a trend. I know, it's a bit rude, isn't it? I guess that might sound super odd to some. Like I mistrust the guy enough that I won't drink his water, but I'm okay with him walking me up to my tent. I suppose it is kind of contradictory, but I didn't make the rules when it comes to keeping safe at events like this. I just follow them, and they've worked out for me so far. Anyway, Aaron and I wandered back to my tent, chatting back and forth the whole time, and I remember getting some really good vibes from him. But then, when we get back to the tent, I excused myself to go check on my friend. I was worried that she might not... I might get the Switch 3. Can you imagine it? The Switch 3 is going to launch, and it's not going to have any games for like 8 months. It's just going to have... It's going to be backwards compatible, but it's not even that. It's going to have like a shitty emulator in it that plays like Wii games, but only like 15 Wii games, not even all of them. I'll be honest with you. I am genuinely disappointed in Nintendo. Like, Nintendo used to be like, I don't know, the thinking man's console. maybe not necessarily the thinking man, but like the thinking baby's console. It used to be very accessible. It was like the Fisher Price of gaming. Like, it just worked. You could drop it on its head, and it was good to go. But now it's like they're charging $80. $80? Dude, first off, like, every fucking Nintendo game ever, they're fun, right? They're made seamlessly. They're supposed to be fun. They're polished, whatever. But for the most part, let's be real. Nintendo Switch games, at best, are like the indie games that you get on Steam summer sale for like $7. Like the shit that like indie game developers make, which usually ends up making it to like the Nintendo Switch anyways if they're popular enough, that's about the quality that you're expecting most of the time. And the fact that like the Switch is charging $80 while simultaneously only having what out? Like a fucking racing game that's been the same fucking racing game since like the GameCube. Objectively speaking, it's the same fucking game. There's nothing new or interesting. There's no new physics. It's like open world, sure. Congratulations, you made a sort of open world game that's always like janky anyways with those kind of like driving mechanics. And then you have like Donkey Kong, which is cool. I'm glad they finally made a Donkey Kong that like isn't some gimmick where you pound on a drum or whatever the fuck. But I mean, all it is you're like smacking into rocks, and like it's not like the destruction is even half as good as like those Red Faction games back in the day, right? You know what I mean? Like there's never anything about like Nintendo that's ever like some like technical marvel anymore, or like even really that like novelly interesting. It's just sort of like an abstract thing that you like get on the anticipation that you're probably going to play like the new Zelda or Super Smash Brothers with your friends, or Mario Party or some shit, you know? It's like everyone is kind of like forced in the year 2011 to buy Cards Against Humanity. Every, you know, group of nerds is always like kind of obligated to get like a new Nintendo console. And now they don't even have the respect to put out more than like 2 titles when it releases. I mean, honestly, Nintendo might kill me at this point. And they're not even a nice company, bro. Like they're so, what are they, so strapped for fucking cash that they have to like shut down Power World with like a dude, they shut it down with a retroactive lawsuit or copyright thing. Like they ended up writing into like their copyright the idea of like catching things with like balls, right? Which like that's not fucking unique. Like how many other goddamn games have done that? It literally reminds me of the same shit whenever Disney sued that family that put like a Spider-Man quote or something on like a kid's gravestone because it made Disney look a little grim in like a hypothetical world. It's like, what, is everybody in the world heading to the fucking graveyard to check out the newest dead kid? Like, what the fuck are they talking about? They sued someone to like change that shit, and like Nintendo's like no fucking different, just like shutting down people's like modders who have like infinite more talent than your fucking game developers for the past like 2 decades have figured out a way to make your game like more fun and how they want it. Let's bankrupt them. I got an idea. Let's send them to fucking jail. I don't know, dude. It's just like what even are they anymore, man? It's a fucking joke. I was worried that she might not be there, in which case... Oh my gosh. Oh, that's the even worse part. It's like, Nintendo games are supposed to, like, run flawlessly. And then some of the fucking Pokemon games, like, Jesus Christ, the bugs that were in that shit were, like, embarrassing. And the fact that, like, the Zelda game or whatever that released... First off, they've released so many, like, variations of, like, the Switch. Oh, it's got an HD screen and the battery life like lasts 5 more minutes. And even it's like they made like a cooler one that was like a handheld one, and it came with like the remake of Zelda, right? And then that one like had like frame rate issues. It's like, really? You're gonna have frame rate issues with fucking Minecraft graphics? Like, Jesus Christ. It's just embarrassing. It's like, what the fuck are they doing over there, bro? And meanwhile, like, because they're like this sort of like abstract company where there's really like nobody to blame, you know what I mean? Like from an American's perspective, like there's such a gap between like the language barrier, one, right? And then who do we even like, you know, aim our vitriol at for the most part? Where in the past you used to be able to like kind of like tweet at like, you know, Todd Gimbley, the head of gaming, you know, at Ubisoft, and be like, "Dear Todd Gimbley, this is fucking dog shit. You suck. Goodbye." And then Todd Gimbley would feel sad. But I think honestly, for the most part in Japan, they probably don't, you know, let people know who the game developers are because they're afraid that, like, you know, one too many mean tweets and like somebody's gonna like throw themselves into Mount Fuji or some shit. Do the cursed Elmo Jar Jar Binks voice. I don't want to. I want Zelda that is only side quests. That'd be fun. I was worried that she might not be there, in which case, where the hell it was. Oh my god, I can't get this right. I was worried she might not be there, in which case, where the hell was she? But not only was she in the tent, but she was fast asleep and snoring. I woke her up to check on her, and she apologized for not texting after explaining that she was just exhausted. She only planned on taking a power nap, but she must have totally slept through the alarm. I said it was fine, and I was just relieved to know that she was okay. But since I didn't feel like settling down just yet, Andrew with the 5 says, they make issues for people who distribute ROMs while not making it possible for people to obtain them legally. Yeah, it's just like, at this point, how the fuck do these consoles not have basic, simplistic, backwards, you know, compatibility? And that's what I just hate. I hate the fact that, like, in the past, you would have a PS2 and it could play every PS1 game. It had infinite numbers of, like, classic titles. I mean, honestly, like, what's it called? Shadow of the Colossus. Still one of the, like, the best games I think I might have ever played. Along with, like, Grand Theft Auto, San Andreas, and all that kind of shit. And then now, you know, I don't know. Like, it's just, they have to, like, they have to milk us. They have to milk us for everything they can. They milk us so much that we're, like, we got butter coming out of our fucking nipples. You know what I mean? It's just, like, not fair. They don't do it backwards because the Nintendo can re-release for it. Yeah, exactly. It's just, it's so greedy. It's so greedy, and the worst part is that what's the greed even for? Where's the honor? They always talk about honor. Where's the fucking honor in releasing an $80 game that there's no way these, like, big suit executives at Nintendo play their fucking game. They're just like, there's no way. There's no way they enjoy it, bro. It's just, I mean, I guess I get it. Like, they have obligations to the investors that are like must be legally maintained, but at the same time, like, $80 for what essentially is just like, hey guys, if you really think about the Switch, most of the titles on the Switch are literally indie games that you could have gotten on PC 2 years ago, right? But then, oh my god, I'm gonna get a Switch too so I can play Balatro. Oh, I'm gonna buy a Switch so I can play Shovel Knight. I can't wait to play Shovel Knight on my fucking Switch, bro. And then they'll be not even a joke, because like it's somehow it makes it to a physical copy at Walmart. They're gonna charge $40. They would, yeah, Cuphead. Like, Cuphead has been on the PC and all the DLC in like a bundle for like $350. You know what I mean? Like, it's just such a fucking joke. They don't, and like they act like it's such a, like, we should be jizzing our pants every time, like every like 30 moons a new, like, like, remember the fucking Toad game? Remember like the Toad puzzle game where you had to like rotate around the map? Somehow that was like a unique idea, and it took them like 60 months to come up with it. I don't know. It's so embarrassing. Like, half their games are just like, we're gonna make Yoshi but with yarn. We're making Yoshi but it's yarn. Like, you don't have to make every one of your games for babies, bro. You don't have to make every one of your worlds this like childlike nonsense. Like, it can be for us
big kids, all right? Once in a while, you know what I'm saying? Something cool. Something freaking sweet. I don't know. Yarn she and Mary Yarn. It's so cringe. It's just, I don't want to give a fuck about yarn. Like, how much fucking mushroom drugs are those weirdos on up in their fucking skyscrapers, just doing hallucinogens, thinking like, oh, I got an idea. Yarn. Everything I made of yarn. Why is that fun? What? I would, like, if I was up there in their board meeting, I would throw myself out one of the 13th story. That is so stupid. The Joel button. The yarn button. Joel's epic yarn. Absolutely. Americans love the word epic. We love epic things. I'm a yarnophile. I said it was fine. I was just relieved to know that she was okay. But since I didn't feel like settling down just yet, I'd be back in a few hours after taking a walk around the festival site. I already made it up in my mind that Aaron was chill enough to take another walk with, even if I didn't quite trust him enough to drink his water yet, and so I wished her good night, zipped our tent back up, and then stepped my way through the mess of guide ropes to where Aaron was waiting for me. And in so many words, I explained the situation and that I had a couple of hours to spare. And then Aaron said that we should just keep going on what we've been doing, walking and talking, and since I thought that was a good idea, I accepted. I didn't feel much like dancing, and it was so late. Yarn phobic. Don't send me any pictures of yarn. I'm very bigoted towards yarn. Any crocheting, keep it out of my sight. It reminds me of Yoshi. I didn't feel much like dancing, and it was so late that all the food places had closed up for the night. And so we ended up just wandering around, soaking up the vibes on what was an unusually warm summer night. And so after maybe an hour walking around, I asked for the second bottle of water that he was carrying. And I remember him kind of laughing like, I thought you'd never ask. But after I reminded him how careful girls and boys have to be about spiking, he agreed my caution was fair. And I drank some of Aaron's water. We walked and talked some more, and before long, I noticed that we'd walked all the way to the very edge of the festival site, where it was super dark and very quiet. We traced the edge of the area, and Aaron started to get a little flirty, but I figured that he'd earned a chance to shoot his shot once he'd been walking around with me for so long. But then, it struck me. This very, very concerning thing that we made our way to the quietest part of the site just as I started to feel kind of sick and lightheaded. And it also struck me as really concerning that the feeling of nausea and shakiness had come on right as I was halfway through the water Aaron had given me. I didn't tell him what I suspected. I just asked if we could walk back to the tent, and then started walking very quickly back towards a well-lit public area. Aaron asked if I was okay, and although I told him I was fine, I was feeling more and more shaky and lightheaded with each step I took. I realized that if whatever I was feeling was the result of something I drank, I needed to empty my stomach, and fast. So I made a beeline for the tree line to stick 2 fingers down my throat, but not after telling Aaron, "Don't you follow me," before I did. And I puked my guts up, till nothing but bile came out of my stomach and it was completely empty. And then as I wiped my face clean and wandered back towards Aaron, I felt my head clear. I realized you're making tea? Nice, dude. What kind of tea? I realized. You crochet, I'll make you a derpy stuffed. Can you make me like an actual Yoshi?
Like a 3-dimensional Yoshi doll thing out of yarn. That would be really cool. Am I playing Little Nightmares 3 or what the... Is it out? There's no way it's out, is it? Is it already out? Little Nightmares 3 release date? October 10th. That's a while. I might play that on stream, honestly, just for funsies. When is Halloween? When is Halloweener? Let's see. Halloweener falls... Oh! They got rid of it this year. Just kidding. Oh, Halloween is on a Friday, so maybe I'll stream it on Halloween. I feel like you'd let all your anger out on that Yoshi. Yeah. It would have a big hole in its butt after I've had my way with it. But yeah, it's crazy. There's a lot of like, what's it called? Little Nightmare style games coming out. There's one that's called like Animals or something. And then there's one that has guns, which is pretty cool. Halloween stream. Halloween Town stream. If I need advice. Yeah, what should I do with this Yoshi doll that's coming to my house soon? What do I do with it? I need some advice. I don't think they even care if they release the Switch 2 by any means. They probably only wanted to release it at least before GTA 6 to keep the kids busy at the same time as PS4 Pro Astrobot game. Dude, I still never played through that game or had a chance to. I don't have a PS5. Is it on PC? Because I know like those PlayStation games make it to PC. Is Astrobot on PC? No, Astrobot is currently PS5 exclusive and not available on PC. While the developers have expressed interest in the PC port, if it's not enough demand, it hasn't been... Oh man, that'd be so sick. I'm a freaking PC Master Race nerd, so I think I'm fine with waiting. It's a Sony game. Yeah, but I mean, didn't they do God of War and Spider-Man on the PC? Which stands for Poop Cup. I'm playing Astrobot on my Poop Cup. Alright. I'm everywhere all at once. Rafaela, welcome. I realized it was probably just the crappy alcohol and lack of decent food making my stomach rebel on me, because almost as soon as I'd puked, I started to feel a bit better again. But as I started to feel better, I started to feel this mix of dumb, mean, and paranoid. I didn't know how to explain it. Aaron hadn't spiked that water. He'd given it to me out of the kindness of his... The kindness of it. That's all. That's all. When someone unzips your pants. That's all. Ruh-roh. Aaron hadn't spiked that water. He'd given it to me out of the kindness of his heart, and all the while I'd been half considering. What does Yoshi say again? Ring pop! Ring pop! Can't really do it. Your next grocery pair is going to be a black Batwing sweater with Indoorsy embroidered in the purple. That sounds nice. Indoorsy. That's actually funny. Oh, yeah, Yoshi's saying pay your taxes. How many stories did to go? This is the last story, and we're kind of near the end. Aaron hadn't spiked that water. He'd given it to me out of the kindness of his heart, and all the while I'd been half considering him a predator, like that wasn't somehow insulting to him. Aaron asked if I was okay, and what was going on that made my mood change on a dime, so I told him straight up. I was so terrified of being spiked that the second I felt unwell, I just assumed it was his fault, and he was some predator who played the long game and tricked me into drugging myself. And I apologized, like it was legitimately heartfelt, and said that I totally considered if he wanted to escape the psycho B-word that he'd met while he still had the chance. But Aaron did the typical Aaron thing and not only accepted my apology, but said that he'd be too scared if all he heard were men are bad horror stories from all those Netflix crime documentaries, which I'd mentioned being into, and I guess had fueled my paranoia a little. He was super understanding about it, but said I owed him a new first date because I'd ruined the first one by accusing him of roofieing me. I agreed. What? Man, my voice is squeaky. Squeaking and leaking. Sounds like Elmo, yeah. See, I do a mix of Yoshi, Elmo, and Jar Jar Binks all in one. With you having a bunch of new projects, does that mean no game streams anytime soon? I'm sure I could squeak it in. It's been frustrating because, like, as soon as I get free time, like, I haven't even really had time to, like, game in general. But as soon as I get the free time in the back of my head, I'm like, well, I can either spend it working on something else or, like, catching up with other human beings in real life. And so I don't know. I guess it's kind of a good thing I've been away from games because there's really not too much I'm super stoked to play right now. But all that money, I wish, dude. I'm working for free. Just kidding. Making me tired while yawning, then we go to bed and listen to him and put me to sleep years now. Years, that's crazy. And thousands of years more. But you game online? I mean, I did. I used to play Overwatch forever, but thankfully never touched that stupid-ass game ever again. And then I played Hearthstone Battlegrounds, so I'm just a Blizzard bitch, pretty much. But I also haven't really, thankfully, touched Hearthstone that much lately either. So I'm really just kind of like really looking for some type of like single-player experience, because those tend to be just like much more enjoyable anymore. Games on my phone, why don't I like Overwatch? Because it's miserable, bro. Like, they force, it doesn't matter how good you are, they force a 50-50 win ratio on you. Like, no matter what, they will give you someone who's like chewing on a bone while playing the game, and that's your teammates, because you won, like, you're like, oh, we won 3 games in a row, I guess it's time to fucking play with cave people, you know what I mean? Like, it's not fair, it's not fun that they force that kind of shit. And also just in general, like, relying upon teammates for like these really like non-nuanced hard counters is just, I hate that about games. I hate that I'm like, am I playing a card game or am I playing a game with skill, you know? The skill of aiming my mouse and clicking. It came to my house and sprayed me in the mouth with cat piss and a super soaker, then busted my kneecaps for extra effort. It's true. It is my trigger. My trig. That's my trigonometry. Make a good video game software and give us the dog stuff. I've wanted to make a game with people, honestly, for a while. And I was working with somebody on something and then they just bailed. It was really lame. It was like they took the money to like create like a working prototype, and then they just like, they were in like the most polite way possible. They were just like, oh, I've got other stuff to do, and then they just stopped. And then currently talking with somebody about doing it because they do actually have experience with making a game, but I don't know. Who knows if it'll ever happen, man. Actually making shit occur is tough. Genuinely very tough. But I guess if I really wanted to actually make it happen, I would. You're making a game, Cinemi? How are you making it? Play the Doom Dark Ages? I probably won't play Doom Dark Ages. I've watched some friends play it, and that's, I don't know, I'm one of those people whenever I like see, if I've already like played the previous ones, unless I like absolutely loved it and it hasn't changed too much, I'm just like not super motivated in the novel sense. Like it doesn't feel like a new thing to me. Unless I absolutely loved it, you know. But I kind of feel like even though some might argue that Little Nightmares and all those kind of games are kind of the same, I don't know, I feel like they do offer a lot of like uniqueness to their experience. Maybe I don't really hold like side-scrolling games and those like sort of indie vibe games to like such a high standard. Oh, no spoilers. Oh yeah, I don't know anything about it. Except that the devil's in it. There's the devil. Of course, I guess it's the lore related to like Doom is more like some sort of Nordic stuff or something, as opposed to just like Satanus, Satan's anus. The devil's in Minecraft? Oh my gosh. Oh my god. I agreed to what was a very fair point, and then, right as I felt that first romantic spark between us, I saw someone walking over to us. It was the annoying, sweaty drunk guy from before, and not only had he heard Aaron using my real name, he'd heard him talking about our little date. Aaron couldn't see him, but I guess he had read my face when I realized who was walking over, and then by the time he turned, he only managed to get out a word before the drunk guy threw a punch. He might have been sloppy drunk, but the punch that he aimed at Aaron's face was both powerful and accurate. And that might make it sound impressive, but the sound that it made was disgusting, like a slap so loud that it sounded almost like wet. Aaron hit the dirt immediately. He was knocked out cold, and then the guy started talking. "Don't seem like no cousin to me, asshole," he said, all sloppy and all drunk. "You think I'm stupid or something, huh? Is that it? You think you're better than me?" And I remember yelling, "He can't hear you," at him, but the guy told me to shut up, and then, to my absolute horror, he put his sneaker right on Aaron's head, and then started leaning his weight onto that foot like he was trying to crush his skull. I ran over screaming for him to stop it, pushing the drunk guy off of Aaron before screaming at him to leave us alone. The guy took one look at me and then punched me so hard in the nose that it was immediately dripping with blood by the time I found my feet again. My whole face was on fire from the pain of having my nose punched like that. It didn't break, but holy God, did it hurt. He's going sicko mode. I'm drunk. Boom, nose shot. Boom, gut shot. Boom, boom, boom. Every time I go check on my kids, I have to mute you. You are not kid rated. Dude, this is the most family friendly stream you're ever gonna fucking hear. It didn't break, but holy hell did it hurt like a bitch. And checking it for blood distracted me long enough that I didn't see the drunk guy drop to his knees and start ground pounding on Aaron. And that's what it's called, right? When one guy knocks the other down, then just starts punching him while he's done over and over. What? Playing Roblox on stream would be so funny. Probably not. No, I don't really have any interest in like Minecraft or Roblox. Nothing against it. I mean, if I was like younger, I probably would have like absolutely loved those games, but like to get into it at like 35 just doesn't feel honest, you know? What the fuck is Roblox? Roblox, I think, is basically Minecraft, but people can make a bunch of mods for it, so there's like a trillion different types of games that you could play in relation to its like system. Everyone in here's favorite Roblox mod is the dating app. I still play Roblox at 23. I mean, that's fair. I mean, there's probably so many people that still play like Minecraft because, like, obviously, if Roblox existed and Minecraft existed 10 plus years ago, you were like a middle schooler or elementary school kid who was into that game. And of course, you know, if it's something that people still enjoy. Because honestly, like, there was a weird thing where, like, my generation, like, we loved anime, right? Like everybody else did. We didn't even call it anime, but we just loved cartoons and shit, and these were, like, good Japanese cartoons. And then, you know, all throughout elementary school, middle school, and then it was like high school, it was like dorky to be into that shit. And then it kind of got a resurgence in college, like it was actually cool to go check it out again. But but it's funny because I feel like this more, you know, the Gen Z-esque time frame, most people within that generation are actually like loosely cool with each other, like playing and watching the nerdiest shit, right? From high school onward, you know, so people are still playing Minecraft at in high school and college. People are still watching anime in high school and college, and it's just, you know, no one gives a shit because everyone does it. I mean, even like the star, you know, college athlete is probably watching some degree of anime, you know. Do I like anime? I do, yeah. I mean, some animes are like absolutely fucking cringe as shit, but I do like them, you know. I enjoy that there's like, you know, animated content that can be made with mature storylines and ideas and that kind of thing. Sometimes it obviously goes off the rails a bit too much, but I do appreciate. I love Ghost in the Shell. It will always be like one of my favorites for sure. Joel's 35. Yeah, I'm old as shit, bro. Old and decrepit. Favorite FPS game was on Roblox, but I haven't played it in years. It changed so much. Interesting. Wonder what it was. And I guess, yeah, wasn't there like actually like a Battlefield style game that was based on like a Roblox mod? Same with that not Among Us, but what was that one where you would try to do like tasks together and go into these like factories? You would land your ship, leave, and you had to be back before dark or the monsters came out, but you had to gather a bunch of stupid shit. Tell us what I did all day. Yeah, it was just waking up. I woke up at like 9:30, and then I went and played golf with my friend and his dad. But it wasn't like 9-hole golf or 18-hole golf. It was just like, we just had like a competition of like chipping and driving and then putting. They're very competitive about silly little things. You know, I thought you were maybe in your mid-20s. Yeah, you know, that's me, dude. I just be existing for a long period of time, and I haven't changed a whole lot, like both physically and, I mean, I guess I've changed mentally in some facets, but I would say in many ways, like, YouTube has kept me young in the sense that I'm just like kind of terminally online. I still do stuff outside of like the internet or whatever, but I mean, I'm like very much, I guess, up to date on all the nonsense of internet culture crap. Crying Freeman was my first anime. What's that one up? 33, 99, born in the year 1329. Oh, yeah, maxed out my years. It's whatever, man. 47 still look 20, and that's cool. Hey, Scotty. I move more, eat better, also try to be in the sun at certain times. That's good, dude. What, talking about flee the facility? No, I forget what it was called. There was like proximity chat, and it was like pretty funny. There would be like mines you could step on. Lethal Company, yes, yeah. I believe Lethal Company was based on a Roblox mod or something like that. Or it's from a Roblox like mod developer guy. I never got to play Repo, but I heard Repo was funny like that too. Yeah, Lethal Company was fun. Still love my voice, thanks. Even though I'm a dead body, you still can appreciate the point of the channel. That's good. What if I just said, nah, guys, I'm 21. What's good? I'm at peak marketability. I'm pretty much a K-pop icon. That's what it's called. When one guy knocks out the other, they just start punching him while he's, god damn it, a very rustic 21. Yeah, I'm at peak cringe. Yeah, I'm at my maximal cringe lordianness. I ever played Counter-Strike? I think the game I liked was a ripoff of that called Phantom Forces. Nice, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's where, what's the Japanese spyware, or the Chinese spyware knockoff, where it's like Counter-Strike mixed with Overwatch powers? I never got into that, but I'm a K-pop icon. I'm so K-pop, I'm K-poop. K-pop, more like K, I'm pooping in a toilet. I think you at 25 is peak finesse. Yeah, we found it. We found it here. We found our stride. That's what it's called, right? When one guy knocks the other down, then just starts punching him while he's done over and over to fit. What is it saying? When one guy knocks the other down, then just starts punching him while he's done over and over to finish the fight. Ground and pound? I don't fucking know. Age is a blessing. That's true. Honestly, I think about that, like, especially when I hurt my back more recently related to, like, working out. I'm just like, fuck, man. And then it's funny, as soon as I start saying that kind of stuff, I see, like, posts on Instagram pop up, like, where it's like, be thankful for the days where you have autonomy of your body, you know? And then it was like some dude who got like cystic fibrosis. He was like a pretty young dude. And I forget exactly how that works, but basically you just have like endless amounts of like phlegm coming out of your lungs. And it's really hard to do shit because you just like, your breathing sucks. And you have to wear a machine that just like shakes you while you like breathe a nebulizer. I don't know, just really sad. And, you know, then seeing something else where it was like somebody had knee surgery and they're like, it took me a year to like get back to working out again, but now I'm here and I'm better than ever. But be thankful for whenever your body is capable, because you never know when shit can just go to shit. Always an existential crisis for back pain. Yeah, I mean, like I said, like stretching and strengthening is for me has been the key to like getting better. Obviously you can have people like massage it or like chiropractic the stuff, and I definitely would avoid surgery at all costs. But yeah, definitely strengthen has been really, really good, because you can stretch it, right, which then decompresses the spinal column and kind of like takes pressure off of the nerves roots that are coming out. But at the same time, if you don't strengthen that area, then the same thing that like got you in trouble in the first place, which was like a weak core, or weak surrounding muscles, is just gonna fuck you over again. Acting like I just hit the midlife. Dude, when you're hurt, you do have like a midlife crisis, you know what I mean? Do I take supplements? I take creatine, and then I kind of sometimes take B vitamins and like fish oils. But I don't know, I always forget and I just don't care. I forget to take my meds. I begged for death for the last 15 years, but now I'm trying to be happy to live. I'm the funniest person you'll ever meet. Why were you begging for death, though? Was it like a health issue? Holistic doctor, yeah. Give your lumbar a shout out. Yo, shout out to L4. This one goes out to you. Has anyone ever tried BPC 157? I have. You're talking to the BPC king, bro. I hurt my shoulder at the, doing bench press and shit. Which honestly, if you guys ever do bench press, I would always suggest to you to like probably wear those slingshot things that Mark Bell sells. They're really good to protect your shoulder, and do incline bench, because like flat bench is just not worth it. An incline is always going to like work your lower chest and your upper chest. But anyways, yeah, so I tore some sort of labrum tear in my like shoulder, and like I said, I took the BPC, I took the BBC one, took the BBC, all of the BBC, sorry. So the BPC 157, the injectables, took it, and Yeah, I'm like 100% now when it comes to like bench and stuff, so pretty freaking sweet. Probably gonna get some more here for my back just to see if it helps at all. The only thing that I've heard negative about it is that like if for whatever reason you know that you have like tumors growing, you probably don't want to take it because it could encourage blood flow to the tumors and like increase the growth of the tumors. So if you have cancer, don't take it. I think it sucks not being the youngest person in any given place. Everywhere I go, everyone looks younger than me. Whatever. I mean, there's always going to be somebody younger, always going to be somebody older. You know, there's some people that are dead, and there's also some people you don't even know that aren't even born yet. It's crazy. Chocolate 100% heals all wounds, body, mind, and spirit, and financial. True. You can sell it. Was I talking about Valorant? Yeah, I was talking about Valorant. I never tried that. I don't know. I just like don't. There's no like competitive games I'm like excited for anymore. It all just looks like shit. I can crack your back. Yeah, I'm actually pretty good at cracking backs. Or maybe I'm smoking crack. That's what it's called, right? When one guy knocks the other down, then just starts punching him while he's done over and over to finish the fight. Well, Aaron was finished the second he got hit. All the guy was doing now was essentially killing him. And I ran over, shoving the drunk guy over, which was easier this time since he was on his knees already. And I've never fought a guy like that before in my life, and I definitely paid for it with a busted nose. But my God, did it feel good to get a few solid smacks in while he was down. I'm glad I did too, because the next second, he was up and had a hand around my throat. But it couldn't have been there for more than a second before someone noticed us and started yelling. And the next thing I know, the drunk guy is throwing me to the ground, and by the time I got up again, I saw maybe 5 or 6 guys running over and pushing him off, saying, "You're hitting a girl, bruh? What is wrong with you, dude?" All that kind of stuff. And the guy threw a punch at one of them, and then he took one back. Oh my God. All right. We get it. Everybody's fighting. Everybody was kung fu fighting. Malice, welcome back for 4 months. Joel's the goat for real, no cap, bruh. Thank you, Malice. I do try to be absolutely flirpin' goated. What's up, Alex Reese? How goes it? I thought you left without even saying bye. Sorry, dude, I'm here. If you're not... Oh, Williams. Oh, okay. Boop with a 369 says donations for the Wiener Podcast Mobile. Oh, that'd be so good, bro. That'd be so good. Just take that all over this. There should be like a Wiener Mobile podcast hosted by Conan O'Brien. Tribbleclef, thank you for the gifter to Raven C. You now have access to bonus content. The drunk guy threw a punch at one of them. Then he took one back that knocked him on his ass. But the group showed restraint. They didn't mob him. Instead, one of them got the drunk guy in some kind of judo hold, like grabbing the guy's arm and pulling it. And then he was in way too much pain to do anything but lie there till security essentially showed up. And while security took care of the drunk guy, I asked the guys who came to help me to go get medical help, and they did. A few minutes later, a bunch of first aiders showed up as Aaron was starting to wake up, but by that point, his face was a total mess. The drunk guy had connected with a solid few punches, and his nose, eyebrow, and bottom lip were all bleeding pretty heavily. The medical folks got him on his feet, and then I accompanied him to the little medical tent where he got some basic treatment while being checked out for more serious injuries. It was almost 3:30 in the morning by that point, so Aaron had to call his brother over and over until he woke up. He really did not want to drive all the way out to that festival to give him a ride home, but the moment he heard how badly Aaron was hurt, he jumped out of bed and promised to be there within an hour. Aaron and I waited together on that dirt road that led to the site. Then not long after, his brother showed up, mad as hell about what had happened, and we swapped swabbers. Joel, you're supposed to be renting a Wienermobile and traveling across the country doing lives and pods. I'll be the ad-plugging voice for Blue Chew and Better Health commercials for you in Seattle. You do it with a boner the whole time. I always hear Blue Chew on the Tim Dillon podcast. I always just thought it'd be funny if he took it before he did the ad, or he's standing up and he just has a big old erection. How did rich folks never play Oregon? What are you talking about? What is Blue Chew? I think Blue Chew is basically just a boner pill to increase, it's like a vasodilator to increase blood flow to your penis and give you a full night's rest. Yeah, it gives you an electronic erection. We swapped cell numbers before they drove off. And the next day I spent almost the whole ride back texting with Aaron back and forth and arranging that date that I'd promised to let him take me on. And we've been dating ever since. In fact, Aaron is the longest relationship I've ever been in, and we're still going strong almost 3 years later. He sometimes makes fun of the way we first met. Sometimes he'll bring the coffee and... sometimes he'll make fun of the way we first met. Sometimes he'll bring he coffee, I'll me coffee. He'll bring he coffee, me coffee. Bezos just married a live girl? What are you talking about? He mad. He bring coffee. He jazzed up. Melissa Jacobs with it too. Joel. This is from Caitlin, the one in the chat. Thank you, Caitlin. Appreciate ya. And thank you, Melissa, for being the liaison of donation. He sometimes makes fun of the way we first met. Sometimes he'll bring me coffee and say something like, "Careful now. You don't know what I might have laced that with." But I take it on the chin because nothing worth having comes easy, and trust when I say it's hard to come by. I take it on the chin. I chin it on the take. That one guy, thank you, dude. Love you, bro. Alright, guys, we're going to read the outro and get you out of here. Kind of sad the stream doesn't get up to 500 people as easy as it used to, but it is what it is. It is what it is. I really gotta talk to my YouTube people and figure out how to fix this ad situation where every video is not filled with ads, because that shit is summer streaming numbers. Oh, maybe, yeah. What's everybody doing? Living a life? You're supposed to be on YouTube 24/7 consuming content. Life can wait. I got one Justin, it's fine. One Justin equals 500,000 straight listeners. Alright, guys. Think of something funny for me to say at the end. Hey friends, thanks for listening. Click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. I release new videos every Monday and Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and there are super fun live streams every Sunday and Wednesday night. If you got a story, be sure to submit them over at my email, letsreadsubmissions@gmail.com, and you might even hear your story featured on the next video. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations and bonus content over on Patreon, or click that big join button to hear about the extra perks for members of the channel, such as me sending Freddy Fazbear to your house. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all of these stories in big compilations. Located anywhere you listen to podcasts, all links in the description below. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, don't get crowd crushed. Yeah, someone submits a story and just make fun of it. I remember crack is whack, yo. Increasing vitamin D3 levels can help one survive a better outcome of cancer, lowering cells. Just what I've read, less likely to croak. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I guess it's just like a major boost in your immune system. Which D3 is something you can get, but you need like K2 or something to synthesize or like to absorb it. So, I love you guys too. Appreciate you. Yeah, and also getting enough sunlight, so make sure you definitely get the sunlight to increase your immune system. Do the Yoshi sound, that'd be funny. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, Russell! Dude, I swear I've done the Yoshi sound for a fucking end of a video before. Toss me salad with warm defact syrup. What? Oh, man. All right. Yarnchi. Love you guys. Appreciate you. 2 a.m. here on the East Coast. I will get this up and edited tomorrow over on Patreon. It's only $1 a month over there. Go follow me on Instagram at letsread.official. And I will be back streaming Wednesday, I think. But yeah, the new video will be out tomorrow, or today rather, at 9 p.m. EST. It really, really does help if you watch the video right when it comes out. It kind of creates a momentum, a big snowball effect. But hey, watch it whenever you get a chance. Appreciate you, love you. Sleep well. Have a great day wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye. See you.